As you see, I've titled it, you know, how is any of this okay? That's kind of the framing of this show. It's going to be pretty much allowing you folks to dictate the show because I got nothing. I'm gonna be frank with you. I have nothing. I don't understand how we're living, how the country is being governed. I do not understand how any of this is okay. So I need perhaps some MAGA come on the damn show and explain this to me. I mean, when you look at the economy, the price you're paying at the pump, we're now involved in a war that's gone on past 80 continuous days. And our president is confidently stating Cuba's going to be next. You know, he's posting pictures of himself as Jesus and the Pope. The citizens are struggling financially. Meanwhile, he's getting jets and ballrooms and parades and UFC fights and tribunal arches and painting pools. How is any of this okay? That is the simple topic of the show. How is any of this okay? I don't have an answer for it. I don't have an answer for how this has been able to be done to this level. I don't have an answer for why at least damn near half of the country is remaining silent while this is happening. How is any of this okay? I heard a million things about Burisma and the Biden crime family by the same folks who have now taken a vow of silence. I don't understand it. And I'm hoping I can get some of you folks on the show that can help me. So I'm just going to have an open forum and let you folks help direct where this shit goes. Because that's the only thing I can come up with is how is any of this okay? Now, I could have done another show because Enrico Torres of the Proud Boys is trying to cash in and said he deserves millions and all of this shit that's still going on. But as opposed to just simply talking about the flavor of the day and what continues to go on, shocking event after shocking event, I just want to ask you folks, how is any of this okay? How is any of this okay? Like I said, the economy is in the tank. Gas prices are sky high. Groceries haven't come down. We're in a war that's past 80 straight days. He's confidently stating Cuba is next in line. And all while that's happening, all while Americans of all walks of life are struggling, he's getting jets, ballrooms, parades, tribunal arches, UFC matches on his front lawn. And the only people that seem to be cashing in are January 6 rioters. How is any of this okay? Meanwhile, he's online posing as the Pope and portraying himself as Jesus. How is any of this okay? Did the Democrats fuck up that much? Did the Democrats fuck up that much in the last 4 years or so that this is better than what Biden was doing? Is this really an improvement over President Biden? I need you guys to tell me because I'm lost. I am lost. I don't understand how half the country was gung-ho on how corrupt Biden and Hunter were, and that same group of people is totally silent now. So I'm going to let you folks direct the show. Help make it clear to me. Make it clear because I don't understand it. In the comments, you guys know how the program is, right? We're going to run it as normal. We won't block, ban, or censor. We're MAGA friendly. I'm questioning what the hell Trump is doing in office, but we always are MAGA friendly. And we don't block, ban, or censor you because you support Trump, you're an independent, or you lean left. Your politics be damned. We believe in free speech. We'll always honor that commitment. But I do want to look in the comments. And thank you, Rod S., for the hat mustache starting the program off right. Appreciate that. I don't know why 77 million people did not understand this before they voted. Now they're crying. Well, James, I understand voting for Trump because he didn't campaign or promise to do any of this stuff. I don't think he would have campaigned and promised the J6 rioters that he would give them cash back. So no, I understand why they voted for him in the beginning. But I don't understand why they're silent now is a point I'm saying. I don't understand why they are silent at this point. In the comments, why are you talking about Democrats? Trump is in office now. We're talking about everything. We're talking about everything. I'm trying to find out why where we currently are at, why is any of this okay? Did the Democrats fuck up so much during the Biden's term that what we're going through right now is an improvement? Is this better than it was under President Biden? Somebody help me understand that. So looking in the comments and tap the screen, get the likes of the 10,000. Jason says, so when the Southern Poverty Law Center is paying the Grand Wizard of the KKK, where are we? We're waiting for the judgment. That's where we are. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been indicted. They have not been convicted. I think you're confusing the difference between an indictment and a conviction. The government made allegations that the Southern Poverty Law Center was funding hate. They have not had their day in court. So your answer or your response is essentially saying, let's view them as guilty until proven innocent. That's not how it works. If the Southern Poverty Law Center loses in a court of law, I'm with you. But that has to happen first. You're convicting them and they're just been accused. It's an indictment. It's not a conviction. You're ahead of the game. Leave Biden, Obama, Clinton out of this. It is all Trump's fault, says Advent. It can't be all Trump's fault. There has to be a reason Trump got elected. There's a reason Trump got elected, but it doesn't matter how Biden, Obama, or Clinton performed. They didn't do what Trump is doing now. And I'm asking, how is this okay? We're literally about to potentially pay folks who broke into the Capitol building, took down the American flag, put up the Trump flag. We're about to pay them as if they were involved in a patriotic act. I don't get it. I do not understand that. So I'm going to go straight to the box because I'm going to let you folks direct this show any direction you want on this stuff, because I don't even know where to go at this point anymore. I don't understand why so many people are silent while this is happening. I was told the Democrats are to defund the police party and the right is all about law and order. I'm not seeing that. We're about to pay cop beaters. We're about to literally refund cop beaters and treat them as if they're some kind of patriots. I'm not seeing it. Let me go to the box. And in the comments, Jesse says, tap the screen, get us up to 10,000. We'll take the first caller. When he got elected, he just lied the first time he ran. He was checking things out different now. Yeah, well, I don't disagree. President Trump in office is different than he campaigned on. I don't disagree with that. I think even some MAGA would agree with that. They just favor what he's doing. But I want to know, how is this okay? Pro-American. Let me make sure I got my damn volume up, because sometimes this thing is always screwed like that. Pro-American, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't even know, man. I just don't am I just seeing this wrong?
No, you're 100% right.
So why does it have to come? Huh?
He lied to the people. He lied to the people. He brainwashed them. And then the fact that there's still people supporting them is just crazy.
There's a lot of people supporting them, pro-American. There's a lot of people supporting them.
I think that a lot of people supporting them are just, a lot of them voted just to own the libs, to be honest. It doesn't really matter what he does. As long as the libs get owned, I think that's all they care for.
Now, I'm assuming you did not vote for Trump?
Hell.
Well, I just being candid, I saw your picture with the red hat on, and that inspired me to click on you first. I thought you were MAGA. So I clicked on you first, and I thought you were Trump supporter, because I do want to hear from some MAGA on this. But so you believe it was all about just simply owning the libs?
Yep, that's what MAGA voted on.
Do they care about their own personal finances?
They don't. They literally don't. The other day, I was in a different live where this trucker was talking about how the gas increase and diesel increase wasn't affecting them. We said, hey, how is it not affecting you? He's like, well, it's not affecting me because I'm making more money. I'm like, yeah, but don't you buy groceries out of pocket? Didn't that go up? then at the end, he just started stating, well, I don't care if it goes up.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Come on. What do you mean you don't care?
Well, Ann Coulter, longtime conservative commentator Ann Coulter, she said something similar. She stated that Trump is the most corrupt politician we've ever had. But she said, I don't care as long as he builds a wall and get the immigrants out of here. I don't care. So, I mean, single issue voter or something, perhaps? Like you said, owning the libs. Do you believe right now he is indeed owning the liberals?
He's not. It's just that anything he does against, like liberals, how do you say it? Like liberal mentality, right? Liberal thoughts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Trump goes against it, MAGA is just happy about it.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
It makes sense, but I gotta slightly disagree with you. I actually think he's owning the hell out of the libs. I think he really is. I mean, he's getting his way. He's punishing liberals right and left. He's literally not only punishing liberals, he's going after liberal TV stations and liberal, comedians. I mean, I really think he's doing a really good job owning the liberals. Some of it may go against the Constitution, but as long as half the country is looking the other way, he's getting away with it.
Yep, you're 100% correct.
So, I don't know. Don't care nothing about their personal finances. So where does this end up? I mean, does he just drive the country into bankruptcy, but stand on top of rubble and yell, "We did own the libs" at the end of it?
That's the scary part, man. We don't know where this is headed to. I feel like everything's going to shit.
Yeah, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. Let me ask it to you this way. Because we heard about Hunter Biden, Burisma, the Biden crime family. We heard them talking about Hillary Clinton. We've heard MAGA talking about things they don't like in criminal activities. What would it take to wake MAGA up in regards to President Trump?
That's a hard question, man. That is so effing hard because I feel like he's been exposed so many times with stuff that they were against, and then they just went, well,
Yeah, because I got a viewer right now that's currently on Substack, X. No, he's on a Clapper rather, X Wix or whatever. He says it's your TDS. So he's hearing the show, and he's already talking about this Trump derangement syndrome, which is, I mean, when you hear somebody suggest somebody has Trump derangement syndrome, what does that even mean to you?
Well, I think that the MAGAs try to call people that speak about Trump, bring up Trump. They try to call it TDS, but I think the real TDS is the people that are waving these flags on their cars. Their garage is full of Trump flags. They wear MAGA, stuff, MAGA hats, MAGA shirts. Like, dude, chill out. It's a president. I've never seen that in my life, where someone's so obsessed over the president. It's just weird.
Yeah, I've never seen that kind of devote. Even when Obama was in office, I didn't see so much merchandise. I mean, Trump has literally turned the presidency into a profitable business. I mean, I don't know how much merch has been sold from the Trump campaign, but it's got to be double-digit millions, maybe even triple-digit. I mean, I got 5 MAGA hats in here. So, I mean, when you think about the MAGA hats, just because when you look at the 70 some odd million people that voted for Trump, you got to assume at least a third, maybe even as many as half of them own at least one MAGA hat. So a MAGA hat can cost you anywhere between $10, $15 and $30 to $40, depending on, I mean, you think about 30, 40 million folks that bought this hat that costs at least $10 each. That alone is a ton of money. I mean, he's made a lot of, I mean, now obviously all the money ain't going to him, but what I'm saying is the Trump name as a president has brought in a fortune.
Yeah. And I think that was his main goal. He just wanted to, get rich off the people, and it's more, it looks like it's more off of the poor, more off of the uneducated. You got people just, I don't know, just glazing, praising him no matter what he does. Like, there has to be a point. There has to be a point in time where you say, you know what, that's it. Like, I can't keep defending this guy. But MAGA just won't stop, man.
But you don't have any idea what Trump could do that would wake MAGA up or potentially turn them off to him.
Turn Democrat?
I don't know. If Trump all of a sudden said there are too many traitors and treasonous on the Republican side of the aisle, and he decided to become a Democrat, I don't know. I think some MAGA might follow him.
You're probably right.
I don't know. I mean, because he's convinced folks that a lot of things he was against is suddenly okay now. So I don't know. I mean, you heard how angry they were with the actions of BLM of Black Lives Matter, and yet he's convinced that the J6 rioters were patriots. I mean, rioting is rioting. So somehow they're patriots and the BLM folks are burning down whole cities and looting. I mean, the difference is stark. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, man. It's just, like I said, I think it's just weird worshiping at this point, obsession and hate.
Hate? Why do you say hate?
Well, focus more on the immigration side.
Yeah.
I personally feel like ain't nobody in this country struggling because of an immigrant. But then again, they got brainwashed to think that, hey, it's an immigrant's fault why you don't have a house. It's an immigrant's fault why you're not making this much money. That's how I see it.
I was just in a debate earlier today with a black MAGA, whatever the case may be, and he was saying that Trump, one of the benefits of Trump is he's brought down crime in major cities by deporting illegal immigrants. So he was indicating that all of Trump's deportations have brought down crime because I guess the illegal immigrant population was committing so many crimes. I disagreed with it. I mean, I don't believe any major city is going to see a significant crime drop through deportations. But he seemed to believe that a large portion of crime in American cities is coming from illegal immigrants.
I believe that he believed that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So do we ever wake up? I mean, what is there an after Trump life, or is this our direction from now on?
Shit. I don't know how to answer that. I hope people wake the fuck up.
You sound about just as lost on this as me. I don't have an answer on it either. That's why I want to talk to some of you folks. I'll go ahead and move it on pro-American. Certainly good to talk to you. Come on back anytime. Appreciate it. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get us up to 20,000 if you will. I'm trying to find out, which is the topic of the show, why is any of this stuff okay? Why is what we're going through okay, considering the economy, considering gas prices, considering we're now at a war that's been going on for 80 days, and we're talking about invading Cuba next. Yet, with all of the struggling going on in America, he's getting jets, ballrooms, he's decorating pools, he's having parades, UFC fights. I don't understand it. Meanwhile, he's posting pictures of himself as the Pope and as Jesus. And a large portion of America is kind of silent on this stuff. I don't have a direction, so I want you guys to help me guide this because I'm lost. I'm baffled on this. If all of this confusion leads anybody to think that maybe that is a diagnosis for yours truly of Trump derangement syndrome, then count me in because I'm not understanding this. If being confused how what Trump is doing right now is okay means you have Trump derangement syndrome, I'll take that diagnosis any day. So I do want to continue on with the show because this is where you guys are going to guide me because I just don't have any explanation for this. I've been hearing all day everything from Enrique Torres, the leader of the Proud Boys, talking about he wants millions from this new fund that Trump has set up and is receiving tons of money. I don't understand this. Trump has now been given a get-out-of-jail-free card of any tax issues he's had his entire life, not to mention all of his family members. If they've committed any tax crimes whatsoever for the length of their entire life, the IRS cannot investigate it. All of this because they leaked his taxes? His taxes were leaked to the public by some disgruntled or anti-Trump IRS employee. And from that, he gets all of this. He gets nearly $2 billion in cash and a get out of jail free card for anything you may have done that is a tax violation for your entire almost 80 years of life. Why is any of this okay? That's what the name of the show is. I don't understand it. So looking in the comments here, Lackey, and that whites are being replaced. They got 3 and 6 kids, but worried about things that are irrelevant. You know something? I don't know what you guys are talking amongst each other, but in regards to replacement theory, or whites being replaced, you know why that's happening? It's because, unfortunately, a lot of Caucasians are essentially turning their back on their own. Here's what I mean by that. If I go out and mate with a Caucasian woman, the child is half me, half that white woman. But the Caucasian race in particular refers to the person as black. That's still part of your race. You're not being replaced. You're Xing out a lot of people that's still part of you. That's not a black child. It's half and half. So a lot of when they say replacement theory, it's just, no, we want purity. And anything less than purity, we don't count as any part of us. That needs to stop. You don't see the other races doing that. I don't know why they're demanding purity, but if you're Xing out people that still have 50% of your genes in them, that's wrong. You're not being replaced. You're raising your standards so that people don't qualify. Anyway, looking in the comments, I don't mind mixed race couples. They make beautiful kids, says Rita. Same here. But mixed is mixed. It shouldn't be referred to as black. This is that one drop of black blood rule or whatever the hell it used to be called. That's still partially a white child. That person is still partially Caucasian. They shouldn't lose that. The Democrat Party is training whites to hate themselves. How? Mike, how do you train Mike, let me ask you, Mike, since you're saying the Democrat Party is training whites to hate themselves, how could you be trained to hate yourself? Let me know, what would it take to make you hate yourself? I don't believe that's happening, but I'll continue on with the program. We'll go to MAGA Reacts. I need some MAGA in my life, goddammit. I need somebody to help me understand why all of this is okay. MAGA, you're on deck. Wherever you want. I'm letting you folks guide the show because I don't get it.
Well, let's do the replacement theory thing. It has nothing to do with mixed race or whatever. All Americans, our birth rates are fucking low, historically low. We're not having kids. Americans are not having kids. I don't care what race they are. Americans are not having kids. And instead of promoting having kids, you're promoting abortions and you're promoting immigration. So instead of making more Americans, you're bringing people in to replace us, and you're bringing more than we could integrate. America is a melting pot, but if one ingredient overwhelms the whole pot, it's not gonna be America anymore. You have to bring them in at a rate where we can integrate people.
What do you mean when you say it's not going to be America anymore?
What do you mean? You start making a certain dish, and then you bring in like a new ingredient and fucking fill the dish with that ingredient. Instead of making mac and cheese, you're going to be making whatever, broccoli or whatever.
Yeah, but America never was mac and cheese. It always was a stew. We've been constantly bringing in different people since day one. We've never been a country where we're not Russia. We're not Chad or Nigeria. We've always been mixed. From day one, we've been that way. So what are you talking about?
So you just got to keep that mixed balance. Either way, like, the main issue is our birth rate's down, and instead of promoting, having more kids, you're promoting immigration.
How would you promote having more kids? How would you promote Americans to have more kids?
You make it cheaper to have kids. You make it more affordable. You make it easy. Just a good economy, really. When people are making money, they go out and have sex and make kids. So really, the economy solves that problem too.
Well, according to Trump, particularly in his first term, he said we had the best economy in U.S. history. So why weren't people making more kids?
Because it takes time. It takes time for the economy to get to the point where you can afford housing and you can buy a house. And the whole real estate issue. Housing is very expensive right now. And you don't make it cheaper by bringing in more people to rent the house and buy the house.
I don't.
You have to increase inventory and, you know, I don't know what to tell you. That's where the theory comes from. It has nothing to do with mixed races or any of that. It just has to do with the fact that the Democrats are promoting immigration instead of promoting having kids.
Yeah, but the problem is if you do not have enough citizens in the country to do all the labor, immigration is where you're going to have to find it. Now, I agree with you somewhat on doing things to promote birth, but your party refers to all of that stuff as socialism and free shit. I mean, your party your party barely even favors a minimum wage increase. You don't favor daycare, or you don't favor helping a woman out during pregnancy. None of the stuff that would be needed to promote this. Your party don't support any of that.
The problem is every time the government anytime the government pays for shit like that, all they do is make it more expensive. That's why college is so expensive, and so many things are fucking expensive as shit, because every time the government starts paying for it, healthcare, it just makes it more expensive.
Yeah, but every time the government, but if the government don't pay for it, it's going to disincentivize a whole lot of people to even get it. I mean, that's also going.
What they have to do is make it cheaper. That's all. I've said that every time I've talked to you about this. They have to make it cheaper and make it easy.
How are you going to do that?
Less regulations, and only regulation that makes sense. Just make it as cheap as possible, and people will be able to afford it on their own.
How are you going to do that in a capitalist society where you want to let the free market decide with little regulation? How are you going to make people make stuff cheaper?
Regulation is what makes things expensive. The more regulations, the more hoops you have to jump through, the more expensive and hard things are to do. The more you have to hire people to guide you through regulations and deal with the regulation.
You do understand without regulation, you can also have things like price gouging, right?
Yeah, I didn't say get rid of it. I just say be more smart with it. I mean, look at California is the best example. They're regulated to hell, and they have all kinds of problems with housing and getting their water to put out fires, and they have so many problems from their over-regulation. They can't even build a fucking train because they overregulated themselves.
Okay, there's not a lot of regulations in Mississippi. Why the hell are they so poor?
Because there's nobody living in Mississippi. They don't have the sunshine and resources of California.
There's plenty of people. What are you saying? Tennessee is fairly poor outside of the big cities. So is Kentucky. Nobody living in any of these places?
Florida. Florida right now doesn't have income tax, yet the state takes care of hurricanes, no problem. Takes care of our roads, no problem. Everything.
Florida's not cheap to live in. Florida's not. You think Florida's affordable?
I mean, it's decent. It's not as expensive as New York and California.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you're trying to use the best of conservative states against the worst of Democrat states. There's a lot of Democrat states that don't charge you as much as California or New York. So you're picking the highest places there, and then you're trying to avoid the pitfalls of the Republican Party, like Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, all them states where people are suffering.
Pitfalls of Democrat states too. I'm just picking your best two versus our best two. Your best two is California and New York. Our best two is Texas and Florida. Those are very comparable. They're all big states. They're all, I'm not picking on the weak ones. I'm not picking, I'm taking your top two versus pretty much.
I don't know what you're suggesting that makes us. I don't know what you're suggesting. What makes a state a top state? What's making you pick them as top states?
All size, population, resources, businesses, just GDP, just overall, they're the four biggest states in the country as far as I know. I don't know about New York, but New York is just big because it's New York.
Right. Well, the point I'm making is
comparisons. I mean, the comparisons are never going to be perfect, but they're just a good example. California has fires and earthquakes. Florida has floods and fucking hurricanes. And we deal with our floods and hurricanes better than California deals with their fucking fires, as far as I can see.
Depends on who you ask, because there's a hell of a lot of people in Florida when they have a hurricane, your state doesn't insure them at all. I mean, there's a lot of people, insurance companies in your state ain't doing that great either. But let me ask you, in regards to what we're actually talking about here, why is half the country, mainly on your side of the aisle, silent while President Trump is not doing well with the economy, gas prices? We're now at 80 days of a war that doesn't seem to have any ending to it. And he's already talking about going to Cuba next. Meanwhile, he's getting all these lavish items for himself. Why is all of this okay with your side?
You know, I'll show you. I can show you this with my camera. Give me 1 second.
Because I don't understand it.
All right. Here's the simplest way to look at it. These are inflation numbers. These are the inflation numbers, right? Mm-hmm. This is month-to-month inflation. And right here are the Biden years from 2020 to 2024. These are the Biden years. You see how that inflation number has gone up to like 7, 8, 9, 8, 8.
Yeah, but where was it at the end?
6, 5. What's up?
So, okay, where was it at the end of Biden's term? Because are you just taking the worst of Biden's term or something?
I mean, this is like the most of Biden's term. It's only like the last like 3 or 4 months.
So in other words, it was getting better. So in other words, it was getting better toward the end of his term.
I know, but the bulk of the term, like with inflation, if the numbers are below 3, everything's good. Above 3, that's where you start to worry. When you get into the 4, that's when things are bad. So under Biden, the bulk of the fucking 3 years or 4 years he was president, everything was definitely above 3. You're looking 5, 8, 9. These are fucking record highs. You
do understand that 9 is pandemic related? I mean, how much of the stuff you're talking about is pandemic related?
I mean, this was pandemic too, and it was pretty low inflation under Trump.
So when I asked you, hold on. When I asked you, hang on. Hang on a second. Hold on. When I asked you, why is our current economy, gas prices, and all of this stuff, the war stuff, you're telling me because of Biden's inflation numbers, the economy sucks right now.
No, Tim, let me finish. Okay, so the bulk of Biden's years were really fucking bad. As far as Trump's years, inflation has been fucking really good. It's been under 3 the whole time.
I did not fill up on inflation at the gas station. What does that got to do with this?
Well, inflation is everything. It's gas, it's food, it's how much things are getting more expensive. And overall, Trump kept things at the same price except for these last 2 months. This is the fucking Iran war right here. So, and even then, it hasn't hit 4 yet. It hasn't hit. You know,
you're going by a metric that most people, they're looking at the price of groceries, the price of gas. They're not looking at the numbers you're presenting. This means nothing when you go to Walmart to buy groceries. Your numbers mean nothing to those folks.
Inflation is the total increase in prices. This is a measure of how much things are getting more expensive. So even though they're getting a little pricier, it hasn't been that much of an increase.
Right now, the price of you're wrong though. You're wrong though. Right now under President Trump, the price of fuel at $4.50 some odd cents a gallon. That's higher than it was throughout a lot of Biden's term. Gas was not that price though. Yeah, I'm certain it is.
I bet you does. If I pull up gas prices in the same chart, I bet you does not.
Pull up gas prices on the same damn chart. Let me see what you got. You're telling me gas prices were $4.50 a gallon for 4 straight years under Biden?
Let's see. Right now, the average is $4.23.
No, it's more than that. Right now, the average is more. But we'll go with your $4.23. You're telling me under Biden, gas was this high the whole time he was in office?
Not the whole time, but for like a whole 1 or 2 years.
What does your chart say?
Higher. We got most of 2022, gas was pretty high. That's where all the inflation came from. Well, not all. I'm sorry. Most of 2022, gas was pretty high.
Yeah, but I'm looking at 2023 and it was lower.
It was lower, but it was
right.
As it is now.
So in other words, a whole year of Biden's gas right now is higher than it was at least a whole year of the last part of Biden's term.
that's what it comes down to. We had to deal with high prices with Biden for 2-3 years. We've only had to deal with Trump's high prices for 2 months.
So how long? So how long did we need to go through this under Trump before it becomes an issue? Because I remember it being a problem under Biden right away.
It wasn't. It wasn't until like election time where we really talked about it. It was a problem the whole time, but you know, we gave him a lot of slack to fix things because he said the Inflation Reduction Bill was gonna fucking fix everything. And they passed the bill and nothing got fixed. Inflation went up more. I mean, this is like the key metric right here, inflation. And unlike Biden, we're nowhere near 9. And even like most of the time was 5.
Yeah, but here's a problem though.
But inflation's low, Tim. That's a good thing.
But nobody is putting inflation on their shelf. The point I'm trying to make to you is what I'm saying is when you bring up Biden's inflation rates, which you're saying are much higher than Trump's, but when you look at the gas and grocery prices under Trump, they're not much lower than they were under Biden. It ain't like even if you take away the Iran war. Before the Iran war, grocery prices under Trump was not great. They were not great at all.
Damn, it's only been 2 months. I don't know.
No, that's not. You telling me grocery prices have only been high for 2 months?
They haven't gotten much higher. As far as increase in price, they've only gone up in the last 2 months. Overall, they've stayed pretty much even.
That's not true. That is not true. So you're telling me grocery prices were pretty good for most of Trump's term until March or February?
Pretty much. I mean, this is the price of everything, including groceries, clothes.
I'm telling you. That's why I'm saying your inflation numbers are not telling the true tale, because grocery prices under Trump were not good.
This is the Department of fucking Energy, or what is this?
I'm simply telling you that you're trying to correlate that to the price of groceries. I remember Trump saying that Thanksgiving turkeys Thanksgiving dinner was significantly less than it had been in Biden's numbers, and they were able to go and show that it's the Thanksgiving dinner you're talking about is missing all sorts of items. It was high on Thanksgiving. That was before the war. The price of food and groceries, even for Thanksgiving last year, was much higher, and the war hadn't even started. So it ain't just 2 months like you're trying to say.
It's only been 2 months of really high inflation. Inflation measures the increase of prices. So maybe you feel it through certain items that you buy that prices went up, but overall in the country, the price of everything that we buy, it's been very small increases except for these 2 months. And on top of that, Tim, like, I'm not saying they were good. I just said there was like no disastrous increase. There was no like 4 or 5 or 9% increase. It's only 2 or 3. Anything under 3 is good.
Yeah.
And even above 3 is okay. It's when you get to 4.
All right, I'm gonna put you back on the small screen. I'm just gonna tell you, your using of the inflation rates as a single item to dictate whether or not a job is being done well. I just disagree with that. I don't believe that people are looking at the inflation rate alone, because, like I said, the price of groceries. You haven't heard Trump bragging about the price of groceries most of his term, and not just 2 months. He has not been bragging about how cheap groceries are his whole term. So for you to say it's only been the last 2 months, Trump brags about shit even when he doesn't deserve to brag about it, and he ain't been saying nothing about groceries.
Look, maybe groceries weren't a good example, but gas has been cheap except for the last 2 months. He's kept gas prices very low.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that the price of fuel was lower, and that was like the only economic measure that he was still doing good on, because the price of housing, the price of new car, all that stuff was high under Trump. Gas was about the only thing he had left until the war kicked off.
Look, the inflation number shows that it didn't increase. It's still high, but it didn't get higher under Trump. It just maintained where Biden left it.
Yeah.
The low inflation means that things haven't gotten more expensive. That means wherever Biden left it, they stayed there. So Trump, things are not good. Trump hasn't reduced the prices of things, but he hasn't made them more expensive except for the last 2 months. Only in the last 2 months have things, especially gas, have gotten more expensive. You got to give people time to feel the
that ain't no,
gas.
well, The problem is when you're promising to do shit on day one, and then later on, a year and a half into your term, you're like, well, you got to give me time. That ain't what you said when you campaigned. You didn't campaign on short-term pain for long-term gain. You campaigned on turning things around right away. Now you're giving us excuses of how we should wait a little bit longer for you to pull it off.
I'm not saying that. I'm not giving Trump excuses. I'm just saying he hasn't had any Biden-level disasters. Biden had a lot of disasters, including Afghanistan.
You don't think $4 and you don't think gas hitting $4.50 a gallon or something? You don't think that's a disaster?
It is a disaster, just not that high yet.
What is your definition? How high does it have to go?
It's only been 2 months. When we hit 6 months, then people are going to agree with you more.
I don't think it's going to be you. I think you'll be making up another reason. You'll be showing me the inflation charts.
I have all electric cars, so you might be right. It's not going to be me because I have fucking electric cars, but, you know. Overall, other people are going to agree with you more if it lasts more than, if it goes 6 months, you're going to have a lot of MAGA dropping. I have no idea. I
think here's some of the stuff. Here's some of the things you're missing. For instance, with the Strait of Hormuz closed and fertilizer and valuable items not to go through, you're not taking into consideration what it's doing to the farming community. We're not selling and trading soybean. You're not taking into consideration what the tariffs are doing. There's a whole lot of things that you're just focusing on this inflation chart. There's a whole lot of, not to mention we're at war. You're not taking that into consideration. He's talking about going at war with Cuba. We're not. How is the average American benefiting from any of that stuff?
I mean, I'm not saying they have. I'm just saying things have not gotten worse, and they've not gotten as bad as under Biden. I didn't say things are good. I just said they haven't gotten worse, and they haven't gotten as bad.
I don't see how you could add a whole war into the. I don't see how you could add a whole war into the mix and say things have not gotten worse under Biden than under Biden. We're at war. You're like, well, but we're not doing this worse under Biden. We were not at war under Biden.
Listen, the Ukraine war and the Gaza war is just the same as the Iran war currently. And we're probably going to reach peace in the Iran war way quicker than Biden reached peace in Gaza.
We were not at war in Gaza. Gaza was us trying to help out the Israelis. We were not at war. We're at war in Iran. We're not at war in Gaza. Why are you comparing the two?
We were paying for those wars. We were paying for those wars, and as far as casualties, I mean, we've gotten,
the cost of
at this point.
The cost of what happened in Gaza is a fraction compared to the cost of what's happening in Iran. The type of weapons we use, the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the length of time. I don't say you can even. What happened in Gaza is truly, genuinely a conflict. What's happening in Iran is a fucking war. I don't say you can even come close to comparing those two.
Okay, I'm just telling you, like it hasn't lasted long enough, Tim. It's only been 2 months.
We've been at war for 80 days.
6 month mark.
We've been at war for 80 days.
A month ago, you were saying the same thing a month ago before the gas prices went up, and you're still gonna, I don't know what to tell you. I gotta run.
All right, I agree. I agree with him. I agree with him. You don't know what to tell me. Anyway, tap the screen. I had to hear from some MAGA. I got to hear from some more MAGA. That did not quench my thirst. I just don't believe the inflation charts alone tells the tale. I'll tell you this. And tap the screen. Get us up over 35,000. We take the next caller. By the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, I need you to smash that like button. Helps out the algorithm. I certainly need you to smash that like button today. I don't know. The numbers are really low. So if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. What he was doing with the inflation charts reminds me of something we were criticizing Biden over. And I was number one criticizing Biden over this. And I was taking a beating from some of my liberal viewers because I was hammering Biden on. Biden was claiming the stock market was doing well, therefore the economy is doing well. And the fact is, people are not going to the grocery store buying groceries with the stock market. They're not paying their rent or putting gas in their car with the stock market. For the average working American, that's not a relevant way of dictating how things are going for people. Yeah, everybody don't invest in stocks. Just like he's using the inflation chart. You're not paying for your groceries with that chart. You're not putting gas in your car with that chart. That chart is not, you can see how much you're spending per week. And that chart, what he's trying to say, did not coincide with what people are going through. Just like with Biden, what he was saying about the stock market didn't coincide either. But he wants to say, well, inflation's low, so that means we're not doing that bad. I don't get it. So I'm asking the question today because we don't have a topic. I just have seen so much shit that I just want to let you guys dictate today's show. And I'm asking you, why is any of this stuff okay? In the comments, Dencal says Trump had displays on the White House lawn saying he would get grocery prices down. Yeah, he campaigned on doing it. Campaigned on bringing stuff down on day one, ending wars and all kinds of stuff. Remember this guy who took out Maduro, attacked Iran, and now is threatening Cuba just a few months ago was someone he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. A Nobel Peace Prize. He's kind of doing anything but when it comes to peace. Anyway, look in the comments. I see somebody say distractions. True inflation is around 6%, says T-Walk. All I know is that his chart is not relevant to the average working American. That doesn't tell you anything. That's just like Biden with the stock market. Trump preyed on the least educated, the weak, that is MAGA. Even he calls MAGA stupid people, and that's on Google. Damn, did he really call them stupid? What you're doing, nobody is simping for Biden. He was 1,000 times better president than Trump, but that's irrelevant. Currently, he's long gone. Yeah, he is long gone. I don't know, Biden 1,000 times better. Maybe as a person, I suppose, because he just isn't intentionally being cruel and hateful, but people judge the president on performance. And I wouldn't say the performance of Biden as a president was 1,000 times better than Trump. That would be a hard sell, I think. But you guys have a different opinion. Remember when Trump said he liked chaos? It works well for him. I can totally understand that. Tap the screen, get the likes on up. Help people out with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goals. If you're watching us live on Instagram, Substack, TikTok, or Clapper, feel free to follow the program. You happen to be watching us live on YouTube, give your boy a sub. For my YouTube viewers, smash that like button. There's certainly more of you in here, so absolutely, I need you to do that. Show the program some love. Doesn't cost you a penny to do that. Let me go back to the box. I would really like to speak to some MAGA if I can get them in here. That can be challenging at times, but we'll go to Mike. Mike Rick, something that says there. Good evening, Mike. Are you there? Mike,
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. So,
Tim.
Yes.
Tim, I got one question, man. When the next time a MAGA person complain about the Biden economy, ask them who's the president before Biden.
Obviously, Trump.
Exactly. But nobody never says that. They always, well, it was the worst, it was this. What did he inherit?
Well,
he inherited Trump's economy.
Well, they don't. It's not going to be viewed like that. It's almost like when you're purchasing groceries and you put your stuff on the little conveyor belt. You put that little divider in there from the people with groceries in front of you. The problem is the divider is COVID. So when you start talking about what did Biden inherit from Trump, it's going to be tainted somewhat by the fact that we were going through a pandemic. So it's not going to be viewed by many as a true failure or success of Trump because a pandemic is in there. So you can bring it up, but COVID-19 is going to come up in every conversation.
That's true, but he also discarded the plan.
Yeah.
That could have helped him. He ignored a lot, so he can't just say,
Mike, you're breaking up. You're breaking up a lot.
About people was in refrigerated truck. So
I hear you. I'm gonna have to drop you, Mike. But I did hear what you said. And unfortunately, I don't like to drop people, but his signal was really bad. But I'll just say this briefly. I don't believe Trump handled the pandemic well at all. I would give him an F. I would give him an F just for the simple fact of releasing information that he knew was based on nothing, such as saying the pandemic would be gone by April. Just made up some shit. I mean, some could even suggest that the death of Herman Cain could be blamed on him by, throwing parties and just ignoring the advice of medical professionals. So no, I agree. Trump's handling of the pandemic was terrible. We got a novel virus. We don't know what the hell's going on. Why would you resist the medical community? At least the medical community may not be accurate. Dr. Fauci may not be getting it right. But you definitely don't know what's going on as a businessman. And you're telling, the way he handled it, he's telling some folk, well, you can listen if you want. You don't have to. And it was just a mess. He rolled it out terrible. So yeah, I would absolutely say that Trump handled the pandemic terrible. And by the way, because Johnny Boy says Dr. Fauci was sending false information to Trump. Here's the problem with that. Trump is the guy who's supposed to surround himself with the best and brightest. You're putting Dr. Fauci on television and you're letting him tell people to social distance and wash their groceries and do all this kind of shit that he thought they should do. And then at night, you're at rallies where your own supporters are yelling, fire Dr. Fauci, and you're giving them the belief that you're going to fire the guy. And you're at the rally saying all kinds of anti-Fauci shit. And then the next day you're back on TV with the guy. Trump could have easily reallocated Dr. Fauci to HIV task force or put him on something else and went and got somebody else to handle the pandemic. So at the very least, even if you want to criticize Fauci, because Trump had the power to remove him from the pandemic, Trump comes across as incompetent. There's no other way around it. It's like a coach who keeps putting somebody on the field that they know can't play. If you think he's terrible, why are you constantly putting him up as a starter? Why is he on the roster every fucking day? So at some point, Trump gets blamed by that. Now, I will give Trump credit. He has the ability to hire and appoint incompetence. And when it goes wrong, he blames the appointee. But in reality, if it's your administration and there's a failure, and you didn't do anything about it, you're supposed to get blamed. A phrase you'll never hear from Trump is the buck stops here. But he should be, just like with this IRS scandal where he settled out, that happened under his IRS. That leak happened under his IRS. And the way he talks about it, and MAGA, you would think it was Obama or Biden president when that leak happened. It was your IRS. So he has a way of folks failing under him, and somehow he gets to blame them, and when they succeed, he takes credit for it. Anyway, tap the screen and get the likes up to 50 now. We're fucked if we don't turn this around. I don't see any sign that we're trying to. Trump, let me advance this screen and tap the like button for my YouTube folks. No, I don't trust the science. Nobody knows what's inside these vaccines. How about that part? Okay, even if you don't trust the science, you still got to, as a president, you got to release a unified message. You can't have a guy on television telling people to social distance. And then you're telling folks, well, you really don't have to. What you normally do is you have one person make a statement and all of the doctors and chemists are behind him. What they have done is they sat at a round table and they hashed out between each other what is our final message going to be? Each doctor, each scientist can submit some type of advice or some type of plan. But at the end of the day, somebody, the boss, who should be Trump, he goes through everything. And then he comes up with a final statement. This is what we're going to go on TV and tell the public. Hopefully this is the best way to handle this. We don't know. But you go on television and you release a unified message. All of the doctors are behind you. You don't have one doctor saying some shit that goes this way. The president says something going that way. The doctor, Fauci's on CNN. He's on all these networks saying something going this way. Trump is on Fox saying just the opposite. That's falls on Trump. That should not happen. A proper leader does not let that happen. So that you can talk about Fauci all you want. That shouldn't have happened. That's Trump failing to basically take the reins and take control. If you're a liberal, you wouldn't have Trump nor Vance on your wall. Well, Trump and Vance are on the wall because they're the president and the vice president. The minute they're not the president or the vice president, they won't be on the wall. When Kamala Harris and Biden were president, their pictures were on the wall. So I want you to understand that. Their pictures were on the wall. They're not president anymore. You want a Democrat on the wall, damn it, vote a Democrat back in office. These are the guys who currently lead the nation. They won. That's why. But if you go through my YouTube lives and look at some of my videos, they're all there. When Biden was in office, their pictures are up there. That's who was up there. So anyway, looking in the comments, and somebody said we're fucked. And not telling people drink bleach. Well, he didn't really tell them to drink bleach. He questioned whether disinfectant would work. So I get what you're saying, though. Let me go back to the box. We'll make it happen with Maverick. Good evening, Maverick. I'm probably going to have a hard time getting some MAGA on the show. I do want to talk to somebody from the right, but it's kind of hard on this because I don't understand how this stuff is okay. Inject Lysol is what he said. I thought he said disinfected. You sure? You sure he said Lysol? I thought he asked about using, okay, well, Lysol is fucking, it's like putting poison in your body. They weren't president and vice president even when they were trash, says Big Boss. Well, that's your opinion because a lot of folks believe the guy that's in office now is the same as what you're saying about the last guy. So it depends on who you talk to. Advent Comics, good evening. Welcome to the program. Us paying high gas prices isn't helping him fulfill the promises he made to the CEOs. It could be. It very well could be. Advent, good evening.
Hey, Tim, how you doing this evening?
I don't even understand it, man. Why is any of this stuff okay? Now we're about to pay out rioters in cash?
Yeah, we shouldn't give any money to those traders at all. But Tim, I'll make it real quick. One, I didn't know how to send a galaxy. I would have sent the galaxy, but I don't know how to do it.
Oh, shit, figure that out.
Everything React said with that chart was bullshit. And let me explain why. Inflation is only one metric. There are other metrics such as gas prices, rents, mortgages, utility costs, all kinds of things factor into what.
All the shit he was ignoring.
Exactly. And his chart was disingenuous. One, because MAGA Rex is too fucking stupid to understand its other parts to go to it. As far as the Biden Inflation Reduction Act, MAGA React's chart shows that once it was enacted, the rates started going down on Biden's economy, and I think it was May or June, it started falling from the threes down to the twos once it got enacted, and it kept falling down all through Trump's first year in office in 2025. But his chart, when he glazed over it, because one, I don't think he's smart enough to realize what was going on. But it was the Biden Reduction Act that started kicking in. It lowered the inflation rate for the country. But there are other factors. When Trump started putting tariffs on shit, he started getting some wars. He started yanking us out of deals such as the OPEC deals. Everything started going up again, which also made inflation start going up again.
Yeah, I think one of the problems, obviously the war, but which is only like 80 some odd days, so it's only like 3 months old. But I think probably the most damaging thing that we haven't even realized yet is those tariffs. Those tariffs absolutely had a negative effect on the economy.
They did. They truly did in ways that aren't even shown.
Right.
They haven't even talked about the farmers yet. The farmers are fucking getting basically bent over with no Vaseline right now because of these tariffs. And then we have to bail them out again. It's like the second time in 1 year that we've had to bail the farmers out. Now, we're not even talking about black farmers because they're in a whole different class that are being just totally butt fucked. Excuse my French. But anyway, MAGA Rex was disingenuous, and I just had to point that out. And like I said, I do want you to be able to talk to your MAGA guests and know how important that is to you. One thing I will say, Tim, you're starting off good today. We're not going to do the superhead, two-hand twist, or any of the card like you normally do.
That's a very descriptive way.
I ain't snatching your black card yet, but you know there's a lot of people who want to snatch your card. So just be fair and even like you're doing, and we're gonna keep supporting and rocking with you.
Appreciate it. Figured out that galaxy. Shout out to Superhead and Mr. Marcus. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All right, Superhead. Oh my God. You see some of her work. Bless her heart. All right, look in the comments. Why are there politicians that don't want to bring companies back to the United States? Because there's something in it for them. Just like the whole reason we took companies out of the United States was to enrich a very few people at the expense of the majority. A few people got access to cheap Filipino or Chinese or Vietnamese labor. They made a fortune, and a large chunk of Americans lost their job as a result. So that's why people don't want to bring jobs back to America. It's benefiting them financially to keep it that way. That's where the problem is. You know, and I don't want to make this into a socialist versus capitalism argument, but one of the problems of socialism is the sheer amount of selfishness. It is an environment where everybody only cares about themselves, and they will fuck over the next guy for an extra buck. And that's kind of what you're seeing. I mean, what's crazy is China, probably our biggest adversary outside of Russia, only became that way because a few people in this country wanted to get rich by getting access to their cheap labor. Few corporation heads took thousands, probably by now, a few million jobs, moved them to China, strengthened their economy, giving them the ability to be more powerful on the world stage and improve their military and weaponry as an adversary. We were doing, I'll tell you, I've said this many times, I'll tell you this. If you could sell Buicks or Chevys or I'm about to say Pontiac, they don't make them anymore. But if you could sell American cars to the Chinese where they could buy that car for cheaper than Chinese-made cars are costing, they wouldn't allow it. They would view that as a matter of financial, national security or a matter of, a threat to their own financial security. They wouldn't allow that shit. We've allowed countries to sell stuff to us at the cost of American jobs to the point where a lot of stuff is not even American made anymore. A lot of other countries would see the writing on the wall. This is not a good thing to do. This is, especially when the country is not even our ally, it's not a good thing to do. But yeah, that's the reason why Oldsmobile is another one that's not made. I actually used to have both the Pontiac and an Oldsmobile before, but yeah, that shouldn't have been allowed. To allow other countries to flood you with their cars and their products and things like that. I don't think China would let us flood their streets with American-made cars. They may take a few of them if it's something that they can't necessarily duplicate right away. Maybe some type of, crane or something, but just a personal vehicle, I don't think they would allow it. Looking in the comments, since Republicans trickle down economic policies, the economic gap in the country is ridiculous. It's getting bigger under Trump, I can tell you that, because most of the great things Trump is doing is for the 1%. The working class is being told, just hold on, we got you. A little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. Meanwhile, the rich is already bragging, we seeing money now. We cashing in now. He's making us a killing now. But the working class people, they're being told to hold on. If it turns out to be valid, that's a different argument. But it's not there yet. Looking in the comments, my dad owned an Oldsmobile 98 big ass tank. Yeah, when gas was cheaper back then. I used to have a Oldsmobile Delta 88, which was a full-size car as well. The problem is when you have money, you find ways to make money. True, but there should be a law that prohibits what they've done. Taking manufacturing plants out of America should be against the law. That should be a threat to America's financial security. That shouldn't be legal. This is what I'm saying. In a capitalist environment, everybody's working for themselves, and the politicians will be in favor of stuff that they know screws over the little people, but it puts a bunch of money in their pocket, so they're okay with it. Let me go back to the box. We'll see if we can make it happen with y'all crack me up. Tap the screen. It started before Clinton tried Nixon. Shit. Yeah, it goes way back. Reagan was big with it too. Don't know what happened with my last caller. We're trying to get my dad had a Chrysler Newport. It was a yacht. I don't remember what a Chrysler Newport was. That's got to be really going back. I don't remember that car. Some things you just don't make here because it doesn't make sense because the natural resources. Yeah, but that doesn't explain all the jobs in China. I'm with you on that. Some things do the natural resources, but we have labor in this country. That's one of the biggest resources we have, and we still shit jobs and stuff to the Philippines and Vietnam and all of that. Yeah, look, if they like Taiwan makes a bunch of microprocessors, whatever the natural resources is that goes in those things, silicone and all of that, whatever goes in those things, that I can understand. But we didn't have to just all of our call centers. It wasn't necessary to move that to China or Philippines or Vietnam. That wasn't necessary. Making shoes and all that stuff wasn't necessary. You're making your jeans and pants. It wasn't necessary to do that. That was done to enrich folks that own those companies. That was not necessary. So no, you can't explain away all the jobs we moved overseas. You don't ship raw natural resources across the globe. You refine them at the point of production. Yeah, but that, like I said, that's not explaining why call centers and jeans and clothes and shit are being made. It ain't got nothing to do with that. We got plenty in this country to make that stuff. All of that stuff didn't have to be done. I mean, you're kind of making an excuse for some of that stuff. The thing is, we wanted to tap in to their cheap labor market. We did not want to pay Americans a decent salary. And that's because a few people were going to make a lot more money if they didn't have to pay a decent American salary. So they sold out Americans to get access to cheap labor, all of those jobs, all of that. And they strengthened their adversaries. That wasn't necessary. That was done by choice for greed purposes. Thomas Stully, tap the screen, by the way, get the likes up to 65,000. Smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. I don't know why I'm having trouble bringing up guests. I just tried to bring up Thomas. That didn't work. We'll try with simple name, Fat. See if this individual comes up. Make it overseas for $2 and sell it to our dumbasses for $100. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think that's what could happen with Cuba. Trump is claiming he wants to indict this Castro guy for a crime from 30-some fucking years ago when the guy's like 94. Bullshit. I do believe they're trying to set up businesses in Cuba. And I'm thinking, Trump, real estate mogul, golf course guy, this would be a great place to do that for the rich or for upper middle class. And they're going to have, just like I mentioned with the Chinese, you'd have Cubans working in these places getting paid peanuts. It's the same shit. You'd have them, your food when you're at the hotel is made by them. They're making up your beds. They doing all of that shit. They're getting $2 or $3 an hour, and you're flying over there and paying $300-400 a night to stay there. I can see that happening. Once he takes over that country, just like what did he say? I want to make Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. That's what they were talking about. The Riviera. Who's going to work in the Riviera? You think they're going to be paying them a decent salary? It was going to be some of them folks, some of the Palestinians, or some of the other Middle Easterners getting paid pennies on the dollar. It'd be just like fucking Dubai or something. Looking in the comments, somebody says one word, moron. But you didn't say, you don't give me anything to work with. Saying moron doesn't really add anything to the program. I don't mind the insult, damn it. I don't censor for that. But you got plenty of room to type. Add some fucking meat to the sandwich. If you're going to call me a moron, goddammit, say something that makes sense. You might be fucking right. But when you just type moron, that's exactly what you look like. John in the comments says you will not get an invite, Mar-a-Lago or the Epstein ballroom. Yeah, you will if you make enough money. You make enough money, you'll get an invite there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that have said critical things about President Trump. If you come up with enough money, Trump's love or hate of you is only temporary. All you got to do is throw around enough cash or kiss enough ass and it can change. It's as simple as that. You can be an enemy today and a friend tomorrow. All you got to do is kiss ass, praise them, or throw enough money around. I mean, Oprah Winfrey could get in there in a heartbeat. Obviously, Oprah Winfrey does not like Trump. Trump has said a lot of awful shit about Oprah Winfrey. If she started throwing around money and speaking favorably of Trump, she could be in Mar-a-Lago tomorrow. It is that simple, which makes it crazy that so many folks on the right was like, he's not taking a salary. He's got his own money. He can't be bought. The hell he can. He is really easy to buy off. He is really easy. Let me go back to the box, the one and only Marty Marr. Happy boy with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap, go. You know what I say? Marty, good evening.
Good evening.
Do you agree with me in saying that Trump can be bought despite his wealth?
Yeah, I mean, you said it exactly where that's all I heard was people saying that, you know, oh, he's not taking a salary, you know, he just wants to drain the swamp, and then he does the exact opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you see him talking about the range and horsepower about electric cars, making all kinds of jokes about them and shit. Elon Musk donates a bunch of money, suddenly he's selling the motherfucker. Like, it was that easy. Elon Musk put some money in him, and suddenly he became a Tesla dealer. It was that easy.
And he doesn't talk about him anymore.
Yeah, because him and Elon fell out, and then he got rid of That's what I'm saying. Enemy today, friend tomorrow. Just throw enough money around, kiss enough ass, and he'll come back.
You know, and I work in, you know, oil and gas, and, you know, we just continually have price increases. And, you know, the guys that I work with are pretty conservative, so they're quiet. They don't say anything. And it's like, you know why this is happening, but you don't want to say anything because it goes against what you've told me since I've been here.
Wow.
You know, as far as, you know, because all you heard about was the economy, how bad it was. Now I have people coming in, I'm talking to people. Nobody wants to say anything about it. And it's really sad because you know.
You know what's crazy is under Biden, price of eggs, price of groceries, price of gas, the economy, like you're talking about. Folks was like, it's insufferable. I'm fucking in the desert. I need water. I'm dying. All of a sudden under Trump, same metrics, and they just got energized all of a sudden. They can deal with it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it gets hard. You know, everything gets hard for a while, but, you know, it'll get better.
Yeah.
This happens. So
Right.
this happen. I'm like, what was that energy? Where was that energy before?
I tell you something. I saw a guy, a MAGA guy on TikTok, I think, or one of the social media platforms. And, you know, some of these liberals that walk up to him with a microphone and get gotcha questions when they're at Trump rallies. He asked the guy, what do you think about the gas prices and stuff now? And the guy was like, I really don't worry about it. I got Jesus. As long as Jesus, when Biden was in office, you wasn't saying no shit like that. I just couldn't believe it. He said, I got Jesus. So as long as I got Jesus, I'm not really worried about the price of things.
But that's what people, you know, people of whatever, if your faith's your cult, or your politics is your cult, you're always going to protect it. You're going to, I think Jeremy said this once, once you make a vote, you're going to say stuff to help give reason to why you made that vote or that decision. And I think that's exactly what happens with these guys. They made their vote, and now they're going to figure out ways to say why they made the right vote. And it doesn't make any sense.
But why? Because I voted for Biden, and I was totally willing to criticize him on a number of things. The economy, when it sucked, I was criticizing him on it. I mean, I don't, when he was saying the stock market was an indication that the economy was returning, I'm like, no, people suffering at the grocery store. Why is MAGA, at least if what you're saying is accurate, and I do believe there's some accuracy to it, why are they refusing to admit or acknowledge when some things have gone wrong? Like Epstein list, for instance. This guy is literally defending the identity of pedophiles. Why is that not a big issue? It was a huge issue under Biden. Tom Hanks, Oprah Winfrey was on the list. Will Smith was on the fucking list. Everybody wanted to know. Now all of a sudden, Trump is clearly hiding who's on the list, and they're okay with that. Why is that?
Because the average person can't not go against whatever they're a part of, whether it's their religion, whether it's their politics. They, like, in their mind, they can't go against it. Like you're an open thinker. Like, that's why you can talk to different people and have honest conversations with them. The average person can't do that. The average person can't say, I might be wrong. Let me deconstruct.
Right.
And so I think a lot of these people get hooked onto something, whether it's, like I said, religion, church, whatever. And I was in that for a long time. So I know exactly what it looks like. And so they can't break themselves away from it to say, hey, I might have been wrong. And I think that's a big problem. And I think, even with patriotism, I think people do that. And they, they're twisting themselves into pretzels talking about the Constitution and what we can and what we can't do. They're talking about, well, if he does run, there is maybe something where I'm like, no, don't do that.
I got people telling me as of yesterday that Trump was the best president we've had in our lifetime. I mean, I just
and
like
go against their moves to say, well, he probably can run because I like him, and it's like that's all it is. Let's just be honest, say that. If you like the guy and you don't care, because I'm already thinking ahead. When we get a Democrat person back in the office, I'm already thinking I need to be critical of that person. I need to stand on my own 2 feet and say whether he's doing right and wrong. And I can't just go with the party. I can't just stand with the people that I feel like agree with me. I have to be I have to make honest decisions and say whether it's right or it's wrong. And I think a lot of people just can't do that.
well, they did it under Biden. There was plenty of criticism under Obama. Hell, I had black people saying Obama didn't do anything for blacks, didn't do anything for Chicago. I've never, even under Bush, there were Republicans that were criticizing him, whether it was Hurricane Katrina or the war. I've never seen this where a party is pretty much viewing their leader immune to criticism. I've never seen it before.
And this is a hot take. And, growing up in a religious background, we talked about the Antichrist and how he would deceive everybody. I'm not saying Trump's the Antichrist, but this definitely helps me, because when I heard it growing up, I said, there's no way somebody could do that. But seeing this gives me a glimpse of how you can take a group of people who have set beliefs, like I thought they had set beliefs, and they can completely go, it just shows me how vulnerable we are to this deception. Because this is exactly what's happening. He's deceiving everybody. He's telling people up is down, left is right. And they're just saying, well, I can kind of see where it's coming from.
So you trying to get 30 men in the game of Contra, huh? Up, down, left, right, left. In the comments, but I got one viewer says, what does it say? Well, something Steven says, Trump is saving our country. Do you see where he might be doing something right now that's saving? And by the way, who is he saving it from? But he's saying Trump is saving our country. Saving it from who?
Exactly. I mean, he's tearing it apart. He's picking at the seams of it. Like, at some point, we can only stand so much. I know people think America is invincible, but we can only stand so much. I listen to shows about attorneys, and they talk about how, the fabric is, the fault lines are being shown right now. And, like, we need to, like, the first thing, if we win this midterm, the first thing we need to do is start working on legislation to plug in some of these gaps, because there are gaps that we thought.
Man, my God. We let the president do a lot of stuff on the honor system, and that's got to. Yeah, you gonna have to put that.
We thought we were always voting in the best person. We always thought we were voting in a decent person that cared about the country and was going to do what's best for the country. And up until now, I can kind of see that in every person that we've elected. But with this person, you can see how if you don't pick the right person, because okay, so I was listening to somebody and they were saying that the states have a lot of laws in place that the federal government should take place. Like in New York, there's 2 ways. Like if you're an elected official, if you hold public office, whether it's elected or not elected, there's 2 ways that you can be taken out of office. One is if you die, and the other is if you're a convicted felon. Automatically out of office. Why don't we have those guardrails up for
I really believe it's because the founding fathers never thought it would be an issue.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody ever thought a guy who has felonies would run for president and win. I mean, it's just something you never. I do believe after Trump, they're going to pass a law that says you can't do that anymore. I mean, how is it that you can't work at McDonald's, but you can get access to the nuclear codes? Like, that's backwards. Man, that's fucking backwards.
Background checking, you got too many tickets or something. I can't hire you. So like it's like, yeah. So how come you can be the president? It makes no sense.
Yeah, my guess is future generations will look at, Trump's resume before becoming president and ask that simple question: how did he end up winning? Like all of this was on this guy. How did he end up winning? And if he does a good job, if it turns out well, then all this is for naught. But if this continues going down the path it's going down, Yeah, our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren will look at, because there'll be books on it. Like, how did this guy why did y'all vote him in? Like, he was doing all this before you elected him, and you elected him anyway. So I don't want to be the great grandfather that's got to explain that shit. That's I don't want to. They showed a video of what happened on January 6th, and like, this happened before he got elected. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know how to explain it away, but the love.
And I wish somebody would study the art of the deal and actually see, like, he talks about the book all the time, but there's no deals in the book. Like, let's look at the book and let's see what actual deals he made that he can say, I did this step, and this step, and this is how I got this deal. Like, there's nothing there. Like, you watch those videos with him and Barbara Walters, and he sits there with piles of papers on his desk, and he acts busy. He doesn't do anything. He's not doing anything.
That's what I'm giving him. But that's what I'm giving Trump credit for. Is he actually is great at portraying an image. He's a great salesman. Whether or not what he's selling is true or not.
McCarthy, when Joe McCarthy or whatever his name was, the guy in the Senate who always said people were communists and everybody was afraid of him back in the 50s. He carried around a briefcase that was empty. He'd hold up a folder of papers, blank papers, just yelling away. This is exactly what this guy is doing. There is so much, fraud. Give me one person.
It's a smoke and mirrors. It's a smoke and mirrors thing.
Yeah, give me one person.
Well, it's interesting you brought this up, because you're right. He did write or publish Art of the Deal, and he's been president almost 6 years now. I'm like, yeah, what deals have he made? I mean, Trump has been governing from the bully pulpit. We're going to do this shit, and either you're going to follow it or get punished. He hasn't sat down and made any bipartisan deals or even good deals with other countries. It's just been, we going to do this, and this is the way it is from now on. Like, I don't know of any really good deals he's done.
It's all intimidation. And when you ask somebody, what has he done? Everything he's done has been out of aggression, been out of torture or intimidation. There's never like, I sat down with this person and we agreed on this. Even when he comes back from China, he doesn't say anything while he's there, comes back and says, this guy said all this stuff. It's always a one-way thing with him. It's never the other person saying, yeah, I agree with that, unless it's, a sycophant or somebody that has to report to him. Then of course they're going to say whatever he wants them to say. But if it's a person on equal level, they never say the same stuff that he's saying.
Yeah, he met with Kim Jong-un. That was a great meeting. Nothing really came out of that. He met with Putin in Alaska on a red carpet. I don't see anything that came out of that, because they're still at war with the Ukraine. When was that? Like last year sometime? I mean, I don't see anything that's coming out of this stuff. But you're right. When he meets with these people, he does make it sound like it was awesome. I mean, he had an awesome meeting with Zelensky one time, he said. Okay, well, what came out of it? So I think it's just in Trump to be optimistic. So if he meets, if anything he's involved in, he's going to paint it as the best and brightest. Even if it's just nominal, or even if it was a failure, he's going to paint it as something awesome. But he's
Gilded Age is what it's called. The Gilded Age.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Where everything looks good, but it's really not. It's all spray painted gold. That's exactly what it is.
Mm. Yeah. Well, this is our president. I got to move it on, but this is who we elected. Hopefully it turns out that we all are happy. But right now it just seems like half the country's happy, and I can't even understand why they're happy. But we'll talk about it later. I appreciate you. Go ahead. Last word to you.
I just hope we do well in the midterms. Hopefully there's not a lot of people who make a lot of noise and cause a disruption.
That shit's gonna be noisy than a motherfucker. They're gonna be saying that Democrats cheated. I mean, they're gonna be trying not to certify a number of Democrat candidates. Has Trump ever been involved in an election that he didn't say fraud was being committed? And it's always
he wasn't in charge of.
I'm just saying, hell, even when Dr. Oz was running against Fetterman out there, he was saying, Fetterman for Senate, he was saying they were cheating in that election. Dr. Oz had to say, ain't nobody cheating out here. Even Dr. Oz came up and said that ain't happening. But Trump was alleging in Pennsylvania they was cheating. So any election he's really concerned with, he's going to allege fraud, and it's always going to be 100% Democrats cheating. He's been the Golden Escalator 2015. He started back then saying it was rigged. To this day, 11 years later, he has never seen a Republican cheat in an election. It's always Democrats, always. So there's going to be a lot of noise made in the midterms. But Marty, thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Tap the screen, get us on up to 80,000. LOL, Tim Walsh in the Somali fraud. And, I mean, where are you going to go with that? Trump sent a gang of ICE to Minnesota to look into that. Nothing came out of it. Okay, there's a few folks out there committing fraud. Lock their ass up. It is what it is. I don't know what else. It doesn't go beyond that. And by the way, I guess we should overlook all of the folks that Trump has pardoned that were literally convicted and sitting time in jail for committing acts of fraud. I mean, I guess the Somalis are more important than the cryptocurrency guys and all this other shit that he's been pardoning fraudsters since he got elected. None of that comes up. Let's just continue talking about the Somalis only, huh? When illegals are voting, fraud is happening, says Wild Steven. I'm with you if I saw evidence or proof. I'm with you on that. Illegals should not be voting in elections. I 100% agree with that. But I haven't seen any evidence of it. I've seen Trump make a lot of claims about cheating in elections, dead people voting, Dominion voting machine switching. I haven't seen him show proof of any of that stuff. I mean, he said, if you believe Trump, I can agree with you. If you take him at face value, but if you start questioning him and asking for actual evidence, he falls very short of that stuff. So you just have to trust what he's saying. And I'm asking questions. Okay, if you're saying there's a ton of illegals voting, I mean, like, listen, I just like with the ID thing. Tap the screen, get us up to 85. I'll take the next caller shortly. I've said this before. There are, because the Save America Act, people say, well, you should be okay with them requiring an ID to vote. It's just an ID. I'm okay with that, but here's the point. Here's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to IDs, you get folks caught using IDs to drive. The cops catch people with fake driver's licenses. They catch people with fake IDs in clubs trying to get in. They're not even 21, or, you know, people trying to buy a beer at the gas station and the clerk catches them using a fake ID. People get caught with fake IDs all the damn time. Point I'm making is, if there's so many illegal immigrants voting, why haven't you heard about any of them getting caught with fake IDs? How are they getting in polling places and voting and not getting caught? You got 19, 20-year-old clerks working in gas stations catching people every damn day with fake IDs. You got bouncers in clubs catching people with fake IDs trying to get in the club all the time. Where are all of the people getting caught with fake IDs in polling places? If they're using fake IDs and they're illegal and they're voting like that, where are all of the cases of people getting caught? There should be tons of them. There's polling places all over America. There should be tons of examples of illegal immigrants caught voting. Notice you hear the right talking about illegal immigrants voting, but you don't see them presenting anybody that's got caught doing it. That's an issue. We heard about Lincoln Riley constantly. Where are all of the illegals that are voting at? That doesn't make any sense. This channel host is the most respectful critic of Trump on the platform. Thank you. Don't come in here and insult him. Just go somewhere else. I don't mind the insults. Listen, it's to some degree, some of the insults may be accurate. I don't give a fuck about insults. I don't censor anybody for off the wall comment. But if it's, you know, well, why your fucking lips so big? All right, then it's some racist shit. Then that's different. But I don't mind the insults. But come with some information. I'll read it. I think you bring your ID and birth certificate and then vote. I'm just simply saying I believe the Save America Act is a solution in search of a problem. I'm 100% okay with requiring an ID to vote, but I do not believe the premise of which they're trying to get the Save ID Act passed is accurate. There's not a bunch of people voting that shouldn't. You're going to tell me none of these people are being caught? They're all successfully getting away with it. You're not catching anybody? I don't believe that. I don't buy that. Non-citizens don't care about your polls. All they care about is picking and I guess you mean president or something. I agree. I think I know where you're going with this, Sylvia, and I agree with you. You said all they care about is picking fruit and making money for their families. They don't care about the government. Get it through your heads. That's a fact. When I went overseas, I lived in Australia for 5 years. I wasn't interested in getting involved in their politics. It didn't interest me. And I absolutely would not have done it and risk committing a crime. You're going to tell me, as eager as you are to get to America, to better your life, you've successfully made it here under the table or under the radar. You're living here illegally, but you're in the promised land. You're able to make a little money. You're sending some money back home and all of that shit. And you're going to risk all of that just so you can cast one vote. You don't walk all the way here barefoot, dealt with the cartel and smugglers and coyotes and shit. And you're going to put all of that at risk to cast one vote, which guarantees nothing. There's no way I believe that. There's no way I fucking believe that. Just to cast one vote. Out of all the things illegal immigrants are worried about, making money, feeding their family, finding somewhere to live, sending money back home, they're not trying to vote. They're just not. That's insane. And like I said, if they were doing it, you would have heard about people getting caught doing it. The fact that they're not presenting anybody that's gotten caught speaks volumes. Takesha Bowie. Good evening, Takesha. Let me ask you a question. This came from Johnny Boy a while ago. He says, tell me where have things changed in the last 40 years with the Democratic Party to the better? I'll give that one to you, Takesha.
Well, we had Democratic president gave us insurance. Democratic Party gave more benefits to, let me say, Joe Biden gave more money to black businesses. Obama and Joe Biden gave way more money to black colleges.
They don't view any. Well, first of all,
I'm just saying, let me get that out the way because that's what they want to harp on. You know, they always want to say Donald Trump gave all that money to the HBCUs. But the Democratic Party are fighting for rights. So we have our rights under them, and the Republicans won't take them away. The Republicans came in, and they took away Roe versus Wade.
Let me just interrupt and say this, because he said in the last 40 years, I suppose, are we excluding Bill Clinton because he balanced the budget? I mean, that's huge. He balanced the fucking budget. So
Obama came in, Tim. We were in might as well say a Great Depression, and he pulled us out of it, Tim.
Yeah.
Biden came in during COVID. And true enough, the inflation did rise to 9%. But when he left office, it was 2.7%. That's what they did. They come in and clean up the Republican mess. He need to tell me what the Republicans have done for the American people, because this Congress that has been in have only passed 38 pieces of legislation.
Yeah, Congress 38. Ain't doing shit. Yeah, Congress ain't. It's all
38.
Trump. How many executive orders has Trump passed? That's where all your legislation is coming from, young.
When I tell you, Tim, I got so typical. The Senate went home today because some of them are upset about their slush fund. So they said they'll be back in June.
That's been the go-to response from Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Just send people on vacation. That way you don't have to deal with it. I mean... Well,
Mike Johnson is over the House.
Oh, you said the Senate. Oh, you said the Senate, because that's what Mike Johnson has been doing too.
Because they say a lot of them are mad about that so-called slush fund, and then Trump gonna be mad because that money for that ballroom didn't pass. Now the slush fund look like it ain't finna go nowhere. He finna be on Truth Social all night long. He finna be taking no dose and drinking Folgers coffee, so he can be up all night. Truth Social.
Well, let me in regards to them going on vacation, I said this when Mike Johnson was doing this, and when the country was shut down, sending people on vacation. Because after Trump, I think there need to be a series of laws to prevent some of this stuff from happening again. One thing should be the majority leader of the Senate or House should not be able to use vacation as a reason to stop people from, the point I'm making is, if you get enough Congress members or enough Senate members, they should be able to bring things back in session and go around the person that's doing this. Because that's what they're starting to do, is they're using a vacation as a reason to not deal with stuff.
Tim, it's embarrassing that the Speaker of the House say he talked to the president twice a day. Why are you talking to Donald Trump twice a day?
You're receiving his orders.
Exactly. That's what's sad. I don't think MAGA understands what's really going on. There are no checks and balances. Trump is doing what he want to do. Y'all think it's a great thing, but it's really not, because he has got to the point where he ain't listening to nobody. He getting rich, like I told y'all. He just in there to enrich himself, Tim, because who goes to the IRS and tell them, hey, check this out. You can never audit Donald Trump, his church, or his companies ever again in life. But a lawyer said these words. He said, that's just a pledge from the one that's over the IRS now. He said if the Democrats win and put somebody in his place, that person can audit Trump. He said just a pledge from the one that's in there now.
Yeah, I actually believe a judge can sometimes, you can make an agreement and judges have the power to go back and undo stuff. I actually believe, because I mean, this is his personal attorney that's settled with. I mean, the conflict of interest is pretty fucking obvious. You appoint your own personal attorney to the DOJ.
The fact that the personal attorney is, look, Chris, take your baby and go on. The fact that the personal attorney is the acting attorney general is what is embarrassing to him.
Yeah, I mean, so it wouldn't surprise me.
All kind of stuff.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if a judge in the future rules that. I don't know how the law works, but they may rule some of that stuff as being corrupt and throw some of those agreements out. Because, like I said, this is because the case that he settled on with this IRS stuff, apparently it was a winnable case. And to prevent the case from actually going through the process, they just settled with Trump so that it wouldn't make it to court. They just settled and gave him money.
They got in.
Did she drop?
Other people's too, Tim, and that man already went to jail.
I don't get it. Why is this okay? Why is this stuff okay?
Because it's Trump. And all Donald Trump doing right now is trying to give money to pay the people from Jan 6, because he going to need them November when the midterms come around. And so he had to pay them for Jan 6 to get them to come on back in November.
What is he going to need them to do?
Stop the election and the certification, Tim. It's coming again. Watch what I tell you, Tim. They already setting it up. We already talking about cheat. But let me ask you a question, Tim. Why he said illegals was voting in 2024 when he won?
I don't have an answer for that.
Did you hear him complain about the illegal immigrants?
He don't complain.
Immigrants voting in 2024.
He don't complain about elections he wins. He only complains when he loses.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Maybe they just took a break and said we're gonna sit this one out and we'll come back for the next one.
I don't get it. And
for his supporters to believe that it's really ridiculous. Just like you said, Tim, these people come over here, they risk their life to get in the country. And you mean to tell me I'm over here working, building up a life for my folks, and I'm going to go in and say, hey, I'm going to take a chance to get sent back and go to jail. Let me go and vote in this wonderful election for the Democrats to win. And, hey, if I get caught, forget all the money I done made, forget all the houses I done built, forget all this wealth and this good life that me and my family have. We're going to just take the risk to go back to where we came from because we really want a Democrat to win.
Yeah, to cast
one vote.
Yeah, to cast one vote.
Stop letting Trump tell y'all anything and y'all fall for it. Just like Tim, did you hear the other day when he said he was going to hold off on doing what he going to do to Iran because Saudi Arabia and all them call him? Them folk came right out the next day and said they don't know what Trump talking about. They don't know nothing about no deal because they ain't talked to it. Now, Tim, he got to cut it out, Tim. He got to stop it, Tim.
I'll tell you.
They made so much money off this war.
Yeah, I do agree that at some point you become the boy that cried wolf. You can't be constantly threatening to annihilate Iran. And they're clearly calling your bluff. They ain't backing down at all. And then all of a sudden when
make no deal.
Yeah, then all of a sudden when the deadline reaches, you come up with an excuse for why you didn't attack him. So at this point, does anybody take his annihilation threat seriously?
No, not even us anymore. Tim, the folks said we don't know what he's talking about. We don't know nothing about no deal he talking about. They ain't talk to him.
I will tell you though.
That whole press conference lying on them folks. Ain't no deal. They ain't know nothing about.
Seem like you would run that by him ahead of time.
He ain't running by the lines. He keep telling them folks trying to make a deal, and them folks coming right out and saying we ain't talking to Donald Trump. Them folks don't even know who they talking to. They could be talking to Mickey Mouse on the South. They don't even know if they talking to the Iranians.
But I thought there was a possibility of validity, and I'll tell you why. It would make sense for those neighboring Middle Eastern countries to ask Trump to try to hold off or maintain peace, because what's happening is America's not being hurt that much by Iran in terms of military. They got gas prices, but military-wise, those nations that border Iran, that's where the killing and the bombing, because America can't protect Kuwait and Bahrain and all them. They're too close to Iran. So it wouldn't make sense that they would want this to end, because America may be bombing Iran, but they're the ones that is paying the price for us doing it. So I
said them folks said they don't know nothing about no deal that Trump is talking about to you. Did you see that wonderful reception that Xi had for Putin when he came over there the other day? Did you see that Xi was actually there to receive Putin? You know, unlike him sending the children for Trump. But I'm saying, Tim, I told you. I said that man ain't get out of your bed, so I ain't finna do that.
You got some haters out there. You got haters out there. That's the only way that could happen. You ain't said shit. You got a hater.
Come on, Tim. Bye.
All right. Appreciate it. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up to get us over the hump. Get us over the 100K hump. Some of you folks can show your boy some love. Had mustache, TikTok cap goes. I get it. It's a terrible topic. But I'll run it by a quick monologue again. I'm just simply asking because I don't have a topic for this. I don't have a... I've been following this, and it's depressing almost, which is why I titled the lives, "Why is any of this okay?" The economy sucks. Gas prices are high. We're almost in a never-ending war, almost approaching the third month, and there's no sign that the Iran war is about to end. No, I don't expect it to last as long as the Iraq war, but there's no sign this is about to end right now. Iran is not backing down. They just created what did they call it? The Persian Gulf Strait Authority. I think that's what it's called. The Persian Gulf Strait Authority. They don't created an authority where they're now officially claiming they have control of the strait, and they're taxing $2 million per ship to pass through. They're doing that out in the open. Iran is. So this ain't going to end anytime soon. And the problem is, if we allow them to continue doing that, what happens? Okay, if they're going to pay a $2 million tax to pass through the strait, that tax is going to be passed down to the people that's using that oil at the end user, which is you and I when we're putting gas in the car, for instance, or purchasing plastic products or fertilizer or whatever. So at the very least, Trump's attack on Iran could result in permanent price increases, permanently. So we're talking about the economy, gas prices, a war that has no sign of ending, him bragging that Cuba's about to be next. Meanwhile, he's getting jets, tribunal arches, and fucking ballrooms, and painting pools, and gold, and parades, and UFC fights, portraying himself as the Pope, one day Jesus as the next. Why is any of this okay? Why? How is this okay? Is it really a bad acute case of Trump derangement syndrome to question why are we accepting this? It seems weird. I don't get it. So I have no direction other than to ask you folks, how is this okay? JPT Farms, appreciate the hat, mustache, thank you. Yeah, help your boy out. Help bring some light to this dull, dim day. Johnny Boy, now listen to this comment. I assume Johnny Boy is MAGA, no problem there, but I want you to listen to his comment. He says, you're looking for instant gratification with Trump, but yet the Democrat Party has done nothing. Two points to be made. First of all, if Trump fails, bringing up the Democrat Party is irrelevant. How many times do I have to say when Biden was in office, he got hammered for the price of groceries, the price of gas. He got hammered when he was in office for the struggling economy. So when Trump gets in office and the economy sucks, bringing up Biden is irrelevant. Biden took his lumps when he was in there. That's why there's not a Democrat president anymore. They got rid of the Democrats because the economy sucked. So when the economy sucks under Trump, going back, but let's talk about the Democrats some more. No, that ain't how it works. You're talking about the guy that's fucking it up now. That's the first thing. Second thing, you say you're looking for instant gratification with Trump. No, we're looking for him to meet his promise. He promised instant gratification. He promised to bring grocery prices down on day one, to end the war in 24 hours. We're looking for what he promised. Is that wrong? Should we have been smart enough to know? No, he's lying to you. It's going to take a lot longer than that. Understand right now when he's on a stage campaigning, he's telling you a lie. Are we holding the people accountable for not realizing he was lying as opposed to holding him accountable for actually lying in the first place? So no, they're not looking for instant gratification. They're looking for him to meet his campaign promise. In the comments, tell me in your lifetime, when have you known prices to decrease? You're trying to use logic to counter Trump's promises. I don't want to hear that prices don't decrease when we got a president that promised to do that. So now he done made all these promises, and all of the MAGA were cheering at these rallies. Hell, I was at the rallies myself a couple times. You're cheering this shit on. And then when it doesn't come through, well, you know this don't normally happen. Then why the fuck was he saying it? Why was he saying he was going to do it then? Looking in the comments here, gas prices have gone down since Biden, $5.29 national average. Yeah, they were going down under Biden as well. But once again, I don't know why when things are fucking up under Trump rather, the go-to response is to bring up Biden. Biden was heavily criticized for the economy under his watch. He was voted out of office because of it. He's gone now. We got a guy in there that promised to fix this shit. He's fucking up, and the go-to response is, well, let's talk about Biden some more. That don't make sense. That makes no sense. That's not helping out. That helps nothing. That advances absolutely nothing to keep going back to Biden. Biden is gone. He took his lumps. He's gone. He got voted out. That's what happens when you fuck up. Jay, good evening. If the program brings you up. Jay, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I don't even know, man. Why is all of this shit okay?
Because I guess when the guy you voted for does it, it's more acceptable, I guess.
Did you vote? Who did you vote for? Did you vote for Kamala or Trump?
I voted for Kamala.
If this was happening under Kamala, you would be okay with it? You would support it?
Hell no.
So in other words, if the person you voted for was doing this, it wouldn't be okay with you. So why is it okay with MAGA?
Because that's MAGA, man. Trump can do no wrong. The one thing I know Trump told the truth about was that he could do something on Fifth Avenue,
middle of Fifth Avenue,
still get votes, and I believe him.
Yeah, it's hard to. It is starting to look harder and harder. It's starting to appear harder and harder to dismiss that. That is looking like it's legit. That he could do some pretty heinous shit because they're talking.
Because just think about it, Tim. Everybody else is guilty on substantial evidence. But him,
yeah,
he could have 100 allegations. They all false.
Yeah. I don't understand it. But I'll tell you something. If there's one thing going on in my comments now from my beloved MAGA, and I love hearing from MAGA just as well, they're all over the Democrat Party right now. Everything in the comment section is, well, what about Biden? What about the Democrats? Like, the economy sucks under Trump right now, and all they can do is talk about the Biden administration.
And they still talking about the Democrats like the Democrats are in power. The Democrats aren't in power.
Yeah.
So why are you still bringing up the Democrats? They're not in power.
Yeah, I got people on YouTube talking about Kamala Harris right now. Folks on TikTok talking about Biden. It's like literally a butt Biden t-shirt. Just get a t-shirt and put the word "but Biden" on it, and everybody.
And I just want to know what happened to being tough on crime. Now we giving criminals payoffs.
Why is that okay? That's what I mean. How is that okay to pay folks who were literally beating and pepper spraying cops? How is that okay? Why do you think MAGA is totally okay with giving payouts to the Proud Boys and folks who were smashing cops in doors and things like that? Why are they okay with that?
Because Trump said to be okay with it.
That's all it takes?
It's like they robots, man. It's like iRobot. These people have they have no boundaries, no morals, no standings. You ask any of them, where's the line drawn in the sand? What could he do to make you stop supporting him? I asked
that to one of my first callers, and I asked her something. I asked, what could Trump do that would make MAGA turn their back on him? Because like at this point, even if you don't think he's a pedophile, you got to at least acknowledge he's protecting pedophiles. I mean, we know there are pedophiles on the Epstein list, and we know that list could be released in its entirety if Trump said so. So the only reason we don't know the identities of those people on the list is because Trump is keeping it hidden. Now, the go-to response, well, the Democrats didn't do something. That's going to be the go-to response. But right now, Trump is in power, and he is actively protecting pedophiles. And that has not made them turn on him. I thought MAGA absolutely was concerned with violators of children. They seem to be okay with that.
There's no line. There's no line. I think some of them would call Trump to hang out with their kids.
Ooh.
Hey, go to the park.
Ooh, really? Ooh.
Go to the park with Uncle Trump.
Let me ask you though, because Trump, it hasn't came out on Trump. I want to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. Do you actually genuinely believe that Trump himself violated the innocence of a child?
Yes, I believe so.
Damn.
I believe, man, where there's smoke, there's fire, and it's just too much smoke. It's too much smoke for there not to be no kind of fire, Tim. It's just too much smoke. How many allegations you got against you?
Well, there is a lot of smoke. I'm not going to disagree. If you can believe that illegal immigrants are voting, you should be able to believe that Trump may have violated a child, because there is more circumstantial evidence that he's harmed children than there are illegal immigrants voting. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like this don't happen to every politician. I mean, how many politicians we got? 500 and something.
Yeah.
Why is it only him?
What I don't get is, like I said, I still do not seem to get is why MAGA's quiet on that, because that was the Epstein list or the Epstein files was a big thing with MAGA before Trump became president. And the minute he got in there, they just would hush on it.
Man, how can you be in something and your name is listed more than the files that is named after? His name is listed more than Epstein in Epstein's files.
Wow. Yeah.
And you're not guilty of nothing?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't, like I said, put it this way. Maybe there is just something Trump is doing, perhaps for the nation, that maybe MAGA sees that you and I does not, that is so great, so important, so lucrative for this great nation, that it is worth turning a blind eye on whether or not he violated kids. Maybe he's doing something that is that important, that beneficial to our safety, our prosperity, that even if he violated children, it's worth giving him a pass on it. Is that possible? I mean, because they are giving him a pass and they still like the guy. There has to be something else out there.
You know what I think is more possible?
Yeah.
I think it's more possible that a lot of these MAGA Trump supporters, I really believe that they didn't want to be wrong about their vote. And I just think they will go to the end. They'll go to the end, man. They'll go to hell about this vote and trying not to be wrong about Trump. They just don't want to say, man, fuck it, I was wrong about this vote. I think it must be a thing because.
But why? If Tucker can do it, if Candace can do it, if Meghan can do it, if Alex Jones can do it, Marjorie Taylor Greene can do it, why can't they?
That's the $1 million question. That's the $1 million question.
I asked a poll question which just took off right now. Only about a dozen people have voted or cast their opinion. I said, do you believe Trump violated the innocence of a child on my YouTube page? So far, only a little bit less than a dozen people responded. 100% say yeah. That's terrible. 100%. So I'm curious to see how far it goes, but so far, 100% of the folks say yes, he's violated the innocence of a child. That's
Trump,
disheartening.
I mean, Tim, these people don't take into the consideration of what his close family members even said. His mother said he should be nowhere near no damn office or no presidency.
Yeah. Yeah. She did say that.
That's not us talking, that's his mama.
Didn't Hexef's mom say some horrible shit about him too, like that?
Right, but I mean, if the people you came out of is saying shit like that,
I don't have an answer.
I mean, if the people that you came out of is saying stuff like this, and all of this stuff has been ignored. I mean, to me, Trump is the greatest bullshit artist I've ever seen. Like he's the greatest.
He is really good at convincing an audience. I'll give him that. He's a great salesman. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. He is really good.
And for real, I mean, God gifted him with the gift of bullshit because, I mean, family members come out. You steal money from your niece and your nephew. I mean, you're doing all kinds of shit.
That's our president, man. I guess at least half of us love the guy. At least half of us love the guy. I guess, I mean, I'm still trying to make sense of it.
How many million? 78 million?
Do you think that number has dwindled? Or I had somebody tell me that the African-American support for Trump has grown. I was debating with a black MAGA earlier today, and he's telling me that they're leaving the Democrat plantation and the support for Trump among blacks has grown.
Like I said, I mean, unless what are they seeing? What are they seeing that we not seeing? What are we missing?
Well, MAGA Reacts came on earlier. So far, he's been the only MAGA I've been able to get. I'm dying to get more MAGA. But by the way, folks, if you want to call in, we're on Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. You can actually call in on any of those platforms, Instagram, TikTok, or Clapper. If you have any of those apps, Clapper, TikTok, Substack, or Instagram. The Handsome Liberal is the name on those platforms. I'll bring you up so you can call in. It doesn't cost you any money. But you're right. I don't know what they're seeing, and I want to know. I mean, because Black MAGA, under Trump's first term, I was getting hammered by the liberals because I could point to things that Trump was doing for the black community. Under his second term, there's nothing there. So why would his support be increasing with this economy, gas prices, wars and stuff? Why would Black MAGA or blacks' support for Trump be increasing? For God's sake, it's talking about getting rid of Juneteenth and shit. What are they seeing? I don't get it.
I guess it's like, I don't know, like dare to be different? What could it be? What could it be? You dare to be different? You trying to piss people off? What could it be? Because it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. The black unemployment then damn near double. So what could it be?
I think he's wrong. I'm going to tell you why. It ain't got nothing to do with just black people. I think Trump's numbers in a multitude of categories have went down. I mean, people really were voting for Trump because they thought he was going to correct Biden's economy. People, and I say this all the time. I understand why even blacks voted for Trump. The shit he promised was awesome. Now, he's not delivering on a lot of those promises, but I understand why his support was growing coming out of the Biden administration. But it makes no sense that it would be growing now because he's not delivering on any of those promises, or the majority of them. He delivered on the border and immigration, some of that, getting men out of women's sports, but stuff that the kitchen table issues, he really hasn't delivered on that stuff. So it makes no sense.
He's actually made everything worse.
Yeah,
what has got better at the kitchen table since he's become in office? Like, what has gotten better as far as a kitchen table issue? Because you can't say, okay, you're getting illegal immigrants out the country.
Yeah.
Okay, but unemployment is going up. You're still firing people. You're still laying off people.
How about this one? Now we always got to say it. We always got to throw in a but Biden. But one of my viewers, Mariana, I think it says you cannot correct Biden's economy in just 2 years. When Democrats keep with corruption. I don't get the second half of it, but she seems to be saying that the economy sucks because Biden fucked it up so much. You can't just correct that in 2 years. How do you respond to that?
I think she's delusional. If you think Biden's economy sucked at the end of his term, okay, I know the inflation went up, but I'm saying by the time he got things in order and stuff like got back to normal.
Thank you.
If you saying that the economy was better his last year than what's going on now, you're delusional. Damn, steak then went from $10 to $20.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll respond.
Beef then went from it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll respond in two ways. When she said you can't correct Biden's economy in 2 years, first of all, Trump, about 6 months into his presidency this time, was already taking credit and saying he had corrected Biden's economy. He was saying our economy was the hottest it's ever been. So even Trump disagrees with you there. So not only that, but in regards to correcting Biden's economy in 2 years or whatever the case may be, Trump promised to get shit down on day one. So if you can't correct Biden's economy in 2 years, then why the hell was Trump promising to do it then? Was he just lying? He didn't tell the voters, it's going to take time. This economy is so fucked up. You can't correct it in just 2 years. No, he said on day one, I'll bring your groceries down. So according to you, Marianne, or whatever your name is, that you can't correct it in 2 years. So that means your president was telling an outright lie because he said he could do it. Do they even view it like that, Jay? When he's saying things that are obviously
whatever Trump says makes them feel good at the moment. I mean, anytime you have somebody that will lie and know they got video of them lying or saying something different just 48 hours ago, he just says what he wants. Like I said, he's the greatest liar I've ever seen because his fan base and his voter base know he lying, and they just say, "Oh, that's Trump being Trump."
Yeah, well, he must have been a panty dropper back in his day because he knows how to say what it takes to get people to view him.
See, I'm from where Trump is from, the New York area, so all of us know that he's a shyster. Like this is all of this. Oh, Trump was such a great guy. Trump was never looked at as a great guy. He was always looked at as a shyster, a shady businessman, because all that fake Trump school and all of that was up and close in our faces, up and close and personal.
Mm.
So we knew about all of that craziness he had going on up in the New York area, robbing the local construction companies, not paying them, making them settle out of court for half of what he owed, and all of that kind of stuff. So we knew all that about Trump.
Well, they say there's a sucker born every minute, and he seemed to have had no problem finding a new one. I got to move it on, Jay, but
all right,
this is where we're at. Appreciate it. Thank you. Tap the screen, folks. Get the program up to 120 if you will. Looking in the comments here. Help your boy with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goes. The show handed it nowhere near that goal, huh? Michael, was Biden convicted of fraud too? I'm amazed at how much Biden they Kamala Harris's name. I mean, like, man, it is crazy how much when Trump is not doing well, it is amazing at how much Kamala Harris and Biden is being brought up. Like, it is deflection city in the comments. Anyway, looking at my poll, 37 participants, so 36 folks have cast a vote in it so far. Do you believe Trump violated the innocence of a child? 78% says yes, 22% says no. That's still fairly lopsided. I'll see how if it changes over time, but that's still really lopsided in favor of him harming kids. Didn't he say he loves the ignorant, the stupid? What else do you need to know? He did say something like, I love the poorly educated or something like that. He did say that. I like evidence of it instead of opinion. You like evidence of what? Casey Jones, I think it is. Evidence of what? The mayor of New York said he was going to give free groceries and bus tickets. Yeah, he did say that coffee talk. If he doesn't do it, he should be held accountable. Now, I forgot the name of the New York mayor before Mamdani. But if Mamdani does not deliver on what he promised, we shouldn't be talking about, but what about the other mayor? No, if Mamdani doesn't deliver, then he should receive the criticism. For some reason, when Trump fails, the right keeps bringing up, well, what about Clinton? What about Obama? What about Biden? If Mamdani doesn't do a good job, Mamdani should be discussed, not the previous mayor or some other person. Quit deflecting and talk about the actual issue at hand. Bringing up the failures of Biden does not improve Trump's presidency. That just makes it so you're not talking about it. There is more evidence. God, there is, you're going to know why I'm laughing. There is more evidence Biden is a pedo when his own daughter wrote in her diary, Daddy took inappropriate showers with her. Now, this is what my last caller was saying, or my caller before last was saying, is that when there is circumstantial evidence on a liberal, they agree with it. When it's on Trump, they don't. Like, you're bringing up that Biden's daughter wrote in her diary some stuff about Biden. You're discounting all the stuff that Trump's family said about him, all the women that accused him of rape, kids in the Epstein files accused him of trying to force them to have oral sex. All of that gets discounted. You'll accept criticism of Biden at face value. But when it comes to Trump, now all of a sudden they're lying, they're gold diggers, they're just trying to get paid. So I just want to point that out. If you're going to go with what Biden's daughter said, then you got to go with all the shit that's orbiting around Trump as well. Tim, did you just say that mayor should be held accountable if he doesn't keep his promise? Yeah. You obviously forgot about Trump. No, I didn't forget about Trump. That's what the whole damn show is about. Is why is what Trump is doing, why is this okay? You didn't forget about him. That's exactly what we're talking about. This is the great white hope, the great white Messiah, and the great white savior for Trump supporters. So they're hanging on to this. I have heard that. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I totally agree, but I have heard folks that he's saying the great white hope. Others will say that he's selling racism. Others will say that he's selling racism. He's selling the belief that as long as you ride with me, I'm going to put white people back on top. I've heard people say that he's selling that. If he is selling that, then it would make sense why people are riding with him a little bit longer than they should. Because if you're telling me by the time all is said and done, I'm going to be supreme again. Alter ego with the dinosaur. Thank you for helping out. Appreciate that. That certainly helps out the goal a little bit. Thank you. The proof is in the pudding, says Jackson. That's the only reason MAGA's still with him. So you do believe he's selling white supremacy. Yikes. Let's not get into the white privilege, says Brian. MAGA will turn themselves into human pretzels to defend their savior, whom with the missile kiss bombed a school, called it bliss. My poll, 75% still saying, we got 50 some odd votes, 75% are still saying Trump harm the innocence of a child. Let me go back to the next color. I'm having trouble. I want to get some mag on here. It ain't as easy. Sergeant Bilko. Is that Mike in it? Sergeant Bilko, good evening. Welcome to the program, if it brings him up. Sergeant Bilko, good evening. He was either fucking, he was sleeping, or he has emphysema, or a combination of all three. I don't know. He's been holding on for a while. I don't know. Anyway, let me move on with the show. That happens occasionally because people are on hold for a little bit. That does. John says he was fucking. He was either fucking, he was sleeping, or he has emphysema. And I would highly recommend the CPAP. Anyway, looking in the comments, that was like the Three Stooges snore. It was a good one. He was on this. No, you don't do that on the CPAP. I use the CPAP. You're quiet on the CPAP. You shouldn't be making all that noise on the CPAP. That ain't right. You need to get your CPAP adjusted if you sound like that with one of them all. Dapper D405. What nuts? That's crazy. That was wild. I'll just say that. Anybody get Trump Gold watches or phone yet? Probably not. And at this point, do you believe that if Trump stiffs them, 590 some odd thousand people paid a total of 59 million for those Trump phones? If he stiffs them, based on what you've seen so far, do you believe anybody would hold him accountable? I mean, it should be wire fraud if you use the internet to sell people shit like that and you don't deliver it. But it would be up to the Department of Justice to go after him. You think the DOJ is going to go after Trump? That 59 million is gone. That shit's gone. Unless a Democrat gets in there soon and they, and they try to, because Trump got the money. This is ridiculous. The Trump administration can easily get 59 million like that. He could make a call to Elon Musk. I need you to take care of this for me. I mean, pay them people. Why would you leave that out there like that? So, but no, I don't believe that there's any chance of them getting their money back. And I see in the comments, Better Days Ahead said, go read the fine print. Yeah, the fine print, from what I'm hearing, made it clear you may not receive anything for your money. I think you should be able to, listen, you can sign a contract and a judge can rule it null and void if he think it's if he think that the contract was not on the up and up or something like that. I mean, fact is, most people sign a contract. When we buy phones, we've all bought phones, Verizon, T-Mobile, wherever you get your phone from. All of that shit comes with contracts you sign that have a long amount of fine print. Probably 99% of us don't read that. And it is your responsibility to read it and understand it. But the courts also know that people don't read it. And if you bury something that is incredibly wrong in the fine print, you get the right judge and they'll throw that out. Like, no, you can't have this. I mean, why the hell would you have in here they may not receive anything? I don't think Verizon or T-Mobile has that in their contracts when you buy a phone that you may not get anything. You may just, you're buying a phone. You're not investing in the stock market. You're not supposed to lose your deposit on a phone. So you got to get the right judge, though. But that will have to happen after the Trump administration, because with the DOJ the way they are, they're not going to go after Trump. If you get a lower level judge, Trump takes everything to the Supreme Court. It is what it is. You can't rely on them either. They just lost that money, though, right? They've really just lost that. That's what's wrong with Congress. They don't read the fine print. Congress has a lot wrong with them right now. Looking in the comments, get the right judge. Does it even matter anymore with this corrupt DOJ? Yeah, because Trump got the right judge. That's what he's doing, is putting his personal lawyers and Judge Jeanine Pirro, personal friends and shit as judges. What makes someone hate another person because their skin color is offensive when we are all humans? It's taught to you, something that's just raised, put in you. I mean, I don't know what makes people hate based on skin color, but it's usually just something they're taught. Is this the golden age? Gilded age? No, it's not. Trump 2024 promised lower prices, no new wars. Trump 2026 $1.50 more per gallon Iran war. We're about to go to war with Cuba, looks like next too. Every day someone is texting me about buying something from Trump, even when I block their number. They still selling shit? Wow. Let me go back to the box. I haven't heard that. We'll go to Dincal. Dapper D, I tried to bring you up. It did not allow me for some reason. And we'll see if it brings Dincal. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, so what are we dealing with here? Why is this stuff okay?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. We all been trying to figure this out for a long time.
I gotta get Mike on here because Mike often comes with receipts. Maybe he can explain. I don't understand it. Okay, the party of law and order, the party that thought Colin Kaepernick was being, unpatriotic by taking a knee during the anthem. They're about to give money to people who climbed on the top of the Capitol building and took down the whole fucking flag. I don't get it. Why is this okay? The Democrats want to defund the police, but these people are on video beating the shit out of the cops. And not only do you pardon them, you give them cash.
Yeah, it's kind of sickening to think about it when you put it together. Like on its face, it may sound kind of fucked up, but when you look back at the history of the party, the fiscal conservatives, the law and order party, look, they already got pardons. Is that not enough?
I don't get it. Well, the Trump administration has been saying from day one that the January 6th protesters got mistreated by law enforcement. It never made sense to me. People believe you should get your ass beaten, shot just for not letting the cops search your car. But they're trying to break into the Capitol building and they got mistreated?
I tell you what, man. When they open this stuff up, because they've said it themselves that anybody can apply, I think that list should have millions of black people on it who have been wronged by the government. All of those people on the Innocence Project who have been locked up for years, who we find out, all of the people who've lost their jobs when Doge came in, it should be packed with black people saying, where's our reparations at?
Well, from what I hear, Trump has been known to put C on applications, so there goes your black people.
Exactly. And so since they say there's no time limit and that anybody should be able to that list should be so long it would take them 10 years to go through.
Well, the Epstein girls, the ones that were violated, because Trump is getting paid because his name was leaked by the IRS. Their names got leaked. None of the grapers, none of the abusers' names got leaked. The abused had their names leaked. They should receive cash.
After there was a law put in place that gave them extra time to redact their names. Yes, they have been literally wronged by the government. And it's in the law. I don't know any lawyers they get should be able to say, but guess what? They're going to choose 5 sycophants, and then we're not going to know what criteria they used to select who got it and who didn't. And then they said that from this point on, the IRS cannot go back or forward into any Trump family income. They could literally stop paying income tax for the rest of their lives, and nobody could look into it because of this law. People don't understand how deep this shit going.
All of this because your taxes got leaked. You get $2 billion in a promise to get out of jail free card permanently, just because they leaked did leaking his taxes even cause any damage to him?
No, it didn't. But if that's the case, if leaking means that, first of all, there's already a process in place. If the government does something wrong to you, you can file a suit at the government. They didn't need to do this and take all of this money. and then basically say who they were going to give it to, because we know, when they say Terrio, he deserved a couple million, and I know the pillow guy's going to be standing up there in front of the line.
Michael Lindell. But let me ask you something. What's stopping this from happening again? Because Jack Smith did a raid on his house. He could sue and say that was not done right, and he got a mugshot. He could sue for that being embarrassing. I mean, he literally is in a position now where he could just create his own fund to give, as I was saying yesterday, mercenaries or whatever he wanted, because the DOJ is going to settle with him no matter how many times he sued. They're going to just keep settling and giving him money.
I don't understand how we even getting this far, because literally in the court of law, you can't settle a case. You can't settle a case against yourself. But you literally, there has to be an opposition when there's a settlement. You can't have the DOJ, negotiating with who? Trump said he didn't know nothing about this stuff.
Yeah.
The 1776 and none of that. He said he didn't know nothing about none of that stuff.
Right.
Who was negotiating against who?
He didn't. Okay, they come up with this monetary figure, $1.776 billion or whatever. He says he didn't know anything about it. Oddly enough, when he was talking about crediting money back to military vets, it happened to be 1776 in that too, just by coincidence.
Exactly. It's like there's no way. Like a court at the end of the day has to sign off on a plea deal. Who did they get to sign off? And what were the arguments? Did Blanche go on one side and say something, then run over to the other side and say, yes, we accept? Who was fighting against who? The IRS already said they were not going to settle. The IRS is full.
Yeah, I heard some legal analysts that said that it was definitely a winnable case, and that's why the lower court judge ruled that it had to go to court. It was a winnable case for the IRS, and to prevent the IRS from fighting against Trump, his DOJ just settled and gave them the money. I mean, so the goal was for Trump to win regardless. I mean, they just settled out of court for a case that was winnable, not to mention the astronomical amount. Okay, his taxes got leaked, and you're saying this is almost a $2 billion claim? You're just settling out of court for that, huh?
And who goes into court and settles because they think they've been wronged for money to give to their friends? Why does that even make sense?
They just said,
I'm gonna settle, but y'all can't ever fuck with me again, and then I want y'all to give all of my friends some money.
Yeah, to me, they just made a late night phone call and figured out how they was gonna do that shit. Trump was on phone with the DOJ, all of the parties involved. I had somebody on one of the social media platforms made a good point. He said something like, you remember back in the day when we finally realized the WWF was scripted, the blood was coming from razor blades, the defender and the challenger were all being paid by the same people, and we still continue to watch and enjoy it regardless. He's like, that's what this sounds like. All of this shit is scripted, it's not legit, it's not on the up and up, and you just gonna keep watching it and enjoying it anyway. We still pretended to like it was real, even though we knew it wasn't. I think this is like that.
You talk about rational people. Like, you can still have conversations with people about the WWE, and they be like, yeah, some of that shit's real.
Well, listen, if they slap you across the face, I mean, you are getting hit. They do sustain injuries, but it's still scripted. It ain't like the challenger is really trying to win.
A 300-pound guy jumping off the top rope, landing on your chest.
Yeah,
that's not real.
No, the fight ain't real. We know the challenger is not really trying to win. We know it's already been pre-prepared who's going to win. But what I'm saying is they're doing stunts to entertain you. People do get injured doing the stunts, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, everybody can't be precise when you moving that much weight and stuff across, at high speed, and they landing on tables, and you don't know how the table is going. I get that part, but we all know it's scripted.
Right.
It's all scripted. But you got people that just, the same way you have MAGA reacts come up here and just literally just be like, well.
He said it's inflation why they're allowing Trump, despite what's going on. He said the inflation rates are low under Trump. That's why people are still happy with Trump.
Right, but he's not taking into consideration that inflation is compounded year over year. His rate of inflation
hasn't been realized yet.
And Biden's was at the end of his. He just took it all out of context. He never said nothing how inflation went from 9% down to under 3% after the Inflation Reduction Act had passed. But they would sit here and tell you right now the Inflation Reduction Pass destroyed the country. Even though we have the factual information and data to tell us that's not true, they'll just be like, nah, hey, under Biden, inflation was 9%. Under Trump, it's 3%. And that's it.
It's just something about Trump, man. They're gonna ride with him no matter what. What is he doing that you and I ain't fucking seeing? I can't get enough MAGA on here, but what is he doing? MAGA's riding with him. So there has to be something he's doing. Because I got Straight Talk who claimed Trump is the best president we've ever had, and he's still saying it. What are we missing?
I can't call it, man. Look, when we call it a cult, they get offended. But that's as close to cult-like behavior. When Jim Jones said, we just gonna drink this Kool-Aid and we going to a better place, dumb people listen to them, they fed it to their children, and they drink it themselves.
So you think MAGA thinks that Trump is gonna take us to a better place?
They tell you all the time. And you go back and listen to what MAGA Reacts was saying back in the day before he got elected the second time. All of the shit that he was saying, the tariffs, you gotta give them some time, give them at least 6 months. Remember he was saying that?
Yeah.
We gave him 6 months. Well, give him a year. And then we gave him a year, and then he was like, well, he still got 3 more years.
Oh, my.
Dude, and I'm going to give you this. I know you got to go, but I'm going to give you this because I want to hear MAGA too. But I'm going to give you this. I keep this piece of paper next to my desk. These promises Trump made in 2025. Gas under $2, lower grocery prices, a 50% decrease in car insurance.
Well, yeah, he did say that. He also said energy prices.
Yeah, energy prices. He said car insurance. He said landlords will start to reduce rent. Now, I'm a landlord, and I ain't reducing rent. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to raise it to keep pace with these property taxes and shit that's going on. He said home prices will go down. He said we will have sub 3% interest rates. He said the end of the Ukraine war in January. The end of the conflict in Israel. They are still dropping bombs in Gaza right now.
But yet he's still the best president we've ever had. How does that work?
And then you ask him how he can't say nothing but, look at the border. Look at the border. He's getting it. If all of that stuff was true, he's getting rid of all of these immigrants. Then the job rate should be going down, right? A lot of people should have extra jobs. They're getting rid of hundreds of thousands of people. The housing market should open up because now those immigrants ain't renting the houses or buying the houses like they say. The things that should be happening if they say were true are not happening.
No, they're not. But hearing you go down that list defends my claim. It makes me feel even stronger with my original claim that I understand why people voted for Trump. He promised some good shit. That stuff you just read, that is good shit. He promised to do a lot of awesome stuff. So I totally understand why even black people voted for him. He promised good shit.
He said America first was his thing. And
Yeah.
this dude is all over goddamn overseas, begging goddamn Xi to help him. He's in a war. He talking about going to Cuba next. He talking about Panama Canal. He talking about Greenland. And ain't none of that shit gonna help nobody. Where the fuck is the truckers for Trump? Remember, they was like under Biden. They was like, we can't even move up product with diesel gas at $4. Now diesel is at $5. I ain't heard not peep from truckers for Trump.
No. I don't know, but he has the gift of gab. I got to move it on, Dencal. I want to play one of your clips you just mentioned, but he can sell ice to igloos, like I say all the time. He's good. I don't know how he does it, but he's good, man. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. All right. And this is one of the things he was talking about. This is one of the campaign promises. Like I said, I understand why people voted for him. He made some really good promises.
By contrast, I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you say, oh, well, I voted for him.
Now, all of that time has elapsed at this point. I think he's been, well, he hasn't, not quite 18 months. He's pretty close. January of 2025. So 12 months was last January. So another 6 months from January. So probably around July, around the 4th of July, August or whatever. By the way, that's usually when energy prices are going up. So he promised to cut it in half. It's increased. So it's not even where it was when he gave this speech. It's higher than where. So if he wants to cut it in half to where the people were there, it would have to be a pretty big cut at this point. Like I said, I understand why people voted for him. The man promised some good shit. That's good stuff. It just didn't come true. He made those kind of promises like that. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap, had mustache go. Mike, the boss, is he in there? Mike is not in there. Looking in the comments real quick. Do you know by August we might be paying $8? Yeah, it's probably going to be, it's going to probably be the opposite. I get what you're saying, Kurt. But what I'm saying is he said between 12 and 18 months, he would cut your energy prices in half. And that would have been while he was campaigning. So he got elected in November. So this would be sometime in 2024. Probably between June to November in 2024 sometime, because he was campaigning for president. And he was talking about cutting your energy prices in half from what they were then. They're higher now than they were back then. So even if he cut it in half from what it is right now, it would still not meet what he was saying there. It's a campaign promise that's not going to come true. It's not going to happen. I don't think it had any chance of happening when he was saying it. You heard my last caller said he was talking about bringing down rents and everything. How the hell a president going to bring down the cost of rent? It is what it is. Go stick up your ass. Nobody cares what you think, says Tom Cornell, which is somewhat sad, Tom, is that the guy is not meeting his campaign promises. And you're essentially saying nobody gives a shit about you questioning it. I guess you're in the tank for him so much that you probably don't agree that he should even be criticized or questioned for that. Tim, you made your boy Stick cry last night. Did I? How did I do that? I'm pretty sure the Democrats will say anything and then do nothing. Okay, but that doesn't defend Trump. I've said that a million times on this live so far. Things are going bad under Trump. The first thing MAGA does is bring up Biden or some Democrat. Like you're saying, I'm pretty sure the Democrats will say anything and do nothing. None of that defends what Trump just did. That's a deflection. Okay, if the Democrats suck, the Democrats suck. But when Trump is doing a poor job, bringing up the Democrats suck, that is not a defense for Trump. That ain't saying shit. That's just a deflection from what he is doing right now. Trump was willing to say anything to get reelected. Who says the commentator? I think it says. Trump was willing to do anything to get elected or say anything to get reelected, just like he was willing to do anything to not leave when he was defeated in 2020. Wow. Wow. The Trump administration announced Monday the creation of nearly 1.8 billion fund to compensate allies of the, we talked about that. The Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and all that may be cashing in soon. That's hopefully you have enough Republicans that stand up and say that's wrong. I'm going to just tell it to you like this. Understand every pathway we allow Trump to go down, that's a pathway for a future president to go down the same way. How many of my beloved MAGA have their blood literally boiling when they hear somebody talk about giving reparations to African Americans? There's no way in hell they should receive reparations. If he's giving money to Proud Boys and folks that were beating cops, pepper spraying cops, trying to take the gun from police officers and shit like that, I don't want to hear shit from this point on about liberal judges being soft on crime or letting people out that should be still locked up. Individuals that got let out by an activist liberal judge and they went on to reoffend. You know how many members of the January 6th protesters or rioters went on to reoffend? A lot of them did. A lot of them did. There are all sorts of felonies, future felons in that January 6th crowd. There are all sorts of folks that got pardoned and committed an additional felony after getting pardoned. It's just literally turned on its head what the Republican Party, in terms of law enforcement, claimed they stood for. It was the Democrats that wanted to defund the police and were anti-cop. These people were on video beating cops, pepper spraying them, doing all kinds of horrible shit to police. Ain't none of them complying. Remember the phrase, just comply, you'll be okay? Ain't none of them complying. So I think this will totally remove any claim of that, that particular trophy that the Republican Party is the law and order party. That's over with from now on. In my opinion, even if they don't award those folks any money, that's already over with because he pardoned them, called them patriots and shit. As I just stated, it's wrong for an athlete to take a knee, but they can climb on top of the Capitol building and take down a whole damn flag and they're viewed as patriots. Make that make sense. East Side, help me out. Good evening.
Hey, we all need some help right now. Yeah, hey, in the Senate, though, I think in the Senate, man, they're pushing back. They're trying to push back against this 1 point, the slush fund. Mm-hmm. I believe they're pushing back. I think the House, I don't think they're going to pass it in the House or the Senate or whatever.
But and you might be right, but here's my gripe. Why are we even thinking about this? It should be guaranteed the Republican Party would not be down with this. Shouldn't even be up for debate.
I don't know. They switch, but what is it? The heresy. That's what the MAGA is. They the heresy. They the evil practice, man. They switch up. You don't know where they at. 1 minute is this, then it's, we was on a panel today and the guy said, oh, we knew he was going to lie. Y'all believed all that stuff. We're like, well, you got to hold him accountable for the things he says. Man, y'all believed all that stuff. We knew he wasn't going to do that stuff. So we're like, well, if you knew he wasn't going to do that stuff, then what did you think he was going to do?
Right. Well, maybe that's what's leading folks to say that maybe he was selling something else like supremacy or some shit.
Right. That's the question. Well, what did you just voted for?
I don't believe that though. I don't believe that they knew ahead of time that Trump was not going to meet his promises. Right, I don't believe that. I think because I believed it. Because I believe when I was at one of Trump's rallies, I went to a couple of his rallies. I believed him when he said that he could end the Russian-Ukraine war in 24 hours. I wasn't thinking 24 hours, so to speak, But I actually believed he had a good relationship with Putin, certainly better than Biden and Kamala Harris. I believed him that he would be able to end that war fairly quickly. I'm thinking like, him and Putin go back. He'll be able to say some shit, promise that Ukraine won't be a member of NATO or something, and he'll get that squashed. I believed him. So I know MAGA was believing him.
I believed he was going to sell them out. That's what I believe. But I did think, I said, he'll get it done, but he's going to sell them out. He's going to, be like, hey, either y'all, go ahead and bend the knee or, But here's what I was thinking, though, that slush about that fund, though, right?
Yeah.
Because me, myself, I got sentenced. See, this is what I'm looking. I'm like, so if it's open to everybody and you feel that the government was wronged you, I'm like, well, I got sentenced under the.
They gonna put a seal on your application. You ain't getting shit. They gonna put colored on your application.
That ain't what they said. They said it's open to anybody who feels they was wrong by the government. And I'm saying, well, shoot, the president. We got plenty of studies that show that the 1994 crime bill was very biased and targeted.
Them saying that that's open, that slush fund is open to anybody who's been wronged by the government is akin to the founding fathers saying all men are created equal. It's what they said, but it ain't what they actually gonna do. That fund is meant to reward his allies. Them the only people that's gonna get money out of that fund. It ain't gonna be people like you and me that can point to something where the system done us. It ain't gonna qualify to you. It's gonna be that is a backdoor way to reward people that have helped him.
We're gonna find out. Know that. We're gonna find out. They're gonna tell me no. I won't see because it's like
you assuming they gonna tell you. You assuming they ain't gonna create some kind of reason not to tell you.
Right. Well, whatever. I want to know. I want to hear it. I want to see because from the language, you're saying any way you can prove, and you're saying that the prosecution of these people was wrong, even though we have videotape. So there's that. In my case, you yourself has said, you know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm saying, let's see. Hey, like the dude before me, it should be millions of people.
I don't believe. First of all, I don't believe Trump is going to get a $2 billion settlement and not keep some of that money himself. It would not surprise me if within a few months, some of the January 6th protesters are like, I put in a claim, I got locked up, and I didn't get anything. Some of them gonna probably be saying, "Where's the money at?" I don't think that guy gonna let $2 billion just go.
I could definitely see that because one thing about Trump, he is chaos. And chaos just wants to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that money. Yeah, motherfuckers be like, we only got $1,000 a piece. He on TV telling y'all 10 million was gay to us. Like that did not. Some of them probably gonna end up having a falling out with Trump. Some of them January 6th folks are gonna be like, I did not get what he said. He's talking about.
It ain't no question in my heart and soul. I believe that full-fledged. Hey, it's gonna be a problem. You will see because it's like you said, he don't think enough. Like he didn't specify for whatever the reasons. He broadened it to where the language applies to anybody. The language does.
Yeah, you might hear you may hear like Enrique Torres, the leader of the Proud Boys, be like, I thought he gave me $100,000 and said split that with your boys. Like I thought it was gonna be money to just me. He gave me $100,000 and said split that with your boys. I mean, I bet some of them gonna have a problem with him. Huh? He ain't gonna get it.
He's asking for $8 million.
Only way he gonna get $8 million is to make some future commitments. That's the only way he gonna get $8 million. I need you and your boys to make some future commitments.
Yeah, they probably already signed up for ICE. Anyway.
Yeah, ain't no way in hell $2 billion is Trump is selling for $2 billion and he giving all that away. That is not happening. There's no way in hell I believe that. At least half of that he gonna keep that. There's no. I don't think none of us would do something crazy like that. There's no way in hell he giving all that money away.
It ain't his money though. He don't care. He's chaos.
It is his money. He don't have to give that money away. The settlement is for damages that happen to him.
But It's the taxpayers' money. We're the ones. It's our money.
That shit ain't yours.
Getting it from.
Once Trump became president, he's the executive of your estate. That ain't your tax money no more. That's his money. Shit.
Man, since when?
He is
Since when was that not your money?
I'm just telling you. You
Hell,
don't.
it ain't. That's everybody's money.
I mean, it ain't the White House no more. It ain't the Kennedy Center. No, he's taking buildings that supposed to belong to the people and doing whatever he want. That ain't your tax money. That is not your tax money. Yeah. So.
That's Trump's money.
Trumps. Right. Your check says FICA, and so it's gonna say Trump on there. Trump took $12 out of my check.
Trump tax.
Yeah, you paying Trump. That shit going to him.
You pay your Trump tax?
Right.
IRS company, you talking about some Trump tax. You ain't pay your Trump tax. You know you didn't pay your Trump tax.
Shit.
The hell is that?
I mean, I think they used to have some shit like this. You used to have to pay taxes to the king or something in England or something like that. Yeah, it could happen. That's you paying him. Let me ask you something before moving on. I did a poll on YouTube. Over 100 folks have voted so far. I want to ask you. The question is, do you believe Trump violated the innocence of a child? Yes or no? Where do you stand on something like that?
Yes. He all it took for me is I didn't have to finish the sentence actually. All it took for me was when I heard him talk to that in 1992. He was talking to that little girl. She was 10 years old, and he said, "Hey, are you in the pageant?" And she was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh," he was talking to a reporter. Then he turns to the reporter and says, "Hey, I'm gonna be dating that in a few years."
I didn't see that. I did see him I saw him pass a girl up on the escalator, and he said, "I'll be dating her in 2 years."
I don't think they was on the escalators.
The one I
just
seen.
heard the recording.
I mean, the thing about it is, he got so much of this circumstantial shit out there like that. It is kind of hard for folks to believe. Why would you think it would be impossible? Like he said a bunch of things that grown men ain't supposed to say to kids. Like you ain't supposed to say. But I believe it was. I'm gonna see if I can find it because there's a video of him passing a young girl on the escalator saying that. I mean,
it was 1992.
Yeah, it's an old video.
She was 10 years old at the time, or 10 to 11, and you, as a grown man, you shouldn't be looking at no 10, 11-year-old thinking about dating her in the future at all.
Yeah, because when a guy talks about dating you, that only way he would say that is he thinks you're fuckable. Yeah, it's the only way. Yeah, I don't get it.
Even if you're a virgin, you don't say that. It don't matter. You don't say that.
Now that would normally, if a father's around, that would normally be fighting words. So somebody tell you, a grown man that's in his 30s or 40s telling your little, elementary school kid, you're gonna be dating her in 10 years. Because you see her as fuckable. Only way you're gonna say that is only way you're gonna say you want to date somebody, you see him as fuckable. So you already seeing her attractive at that young age. And you got plans for her. How much you gonna be dating her?
Is that it? Katie Johnson? Is that the name?
I don't know. Let me hear this is the video I'm talking about. I believe this is it.
You start and I'm ready.
In the wake of questions and allegations about Donald Trump's behavior towards women, ET discovered this footage in our archive, which we provided to CBS News.
Soon, Thursday night, you're going up the escalator. I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Yeah, you can hear her. She's obviously got a young sounding voice. So, yeah, I don't know why he would do that.
Yeah, it's that right there is what did it for me. So I was like, okay, yeah, he's on that.
Yeah,
he's definitely on that.
Yeah,
he didn't think nothing was wrong with it. That's the kicker. See, he in his head he didn't say nothing wrong.
Yeah,
see, that's the crazy part. He's talking to another person, another grown up, saying that. He had no problem.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, he said some wild shit.
Ivanka or my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Oh, it's so weird.
If Ivanka were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
to be a Bud Biden in here somewhere, but I don't get it. I don't get it. That this man can say.
He said donating to her.
Huh?
Like it does. This is
what
they do. This is the code. JC.
In about wait, hold on. So you pass up a stranger and you say in about 10 years you're gonna be donating. Donating to him for what? Well, why can't you donate to him now? It makes no sense.
They are sick. The heresy.
In about 10 years, I'll be donating to her. What kind of shit is that?
Man, the heresy, they are the wretched. They are, and you know what just proves this though? Massey.
What do you mean?
I thought the portrayal of Massey was so great. I couldn't believe it, man, when I woke up and they said Massey lost. Nobody knows this dude, Ed Gillian. Nobody knows who he is. But Massey didn't vote with the Republicans only 9% of the time, right? And that 9% was three things. The war in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
the e-files, and money being spent outside of America. Those were the three things that he wouldn't vote for, and they voted him out. Everything else he voted for. Everything else he's on board with, right?
Yeah.
But the e-files, he wanted them released unredacted. He wanted them released unredacted. He wanted to get. He didn't. He thought the Iran war was a bunch of bullshit, and he felt that we shouldn't be sending all this money. I.e. the little head.
Well, Trump demands perfection. That's the problem. Is Trump demands perfection. If you're not agreeing with him 100% of the time, you're a bad guy. Like the song say, 99.5 won't do. You got to have all of your love. So with him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who voted with Trump like 95%. Hell, even Liz Cheney voted with him most of the time. All it takes is one thing that he don't like, and everything else you've done for him is meaningless. Like he demands perfection.
Yeah, it's crazy, but the thing is, his voters, his minions, is what they are. They will listen to him. Don't vote for him. They support the fact that he wants to hide the e-files. They're supporting that.
I don't have an
answer because the man that was trying to fight to get it, they voted him out. The man that's saying get out of Iran, they voted him out. The man that said stop spending our money outside of America, they voted him out. So they're supporting everything that he does that they know is wretched. They are the wretched, and it's nasty, man.
How do you respond to this? In Real Talk in the comments says he is not leaving that White House even if he loses. Well, go ahead.
At this point, he's building that type of audience. You feel me? He's building
the resistance
that will fight for him.
He's building You're saying he's building the resistance.
Yes.
So what is he going to do? Hide in his fortified ballroom to make sure you can't get him? Or below the ballroom?
I think he in his head, right? It would be something like, once they see that, hey, I got it, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. They're just gonna go with the flow. Like you can never fathom what he's thinking and how he's looking at it. But it's something ridiculous. Know that. It's ridiculous. The way he's planning for this to play out is ridiculous.
Well, we'll see, because if he loses in the midterm, they're gonna try to get rid of him immediately. I gotta move it on there, East Side. But if he loses in the midterm, they're gonna try to shorten his term. And not to mention, even if they, let's say they win Congress and not the Senate, because he's a lame duck president, you're gonna really start seeing a challenge to laws being broken, because Congress gonna be trying to stop him, and they're gonna be like, "Fuck Congress, I'm doing it anyway."
Well, if you've been looking today, man, they stepped up. They're going in on the Horsepower Act. They're trying to limit. They're pretty much saying, "Get us up out of there right now." Right now is what they're saying.
Good luck on that.
You know what I'm saying?
Good luck
Go
on that.
look. That's what's going on right now. I think they suspended till June or something, but they did vote on something about the War Powers Act. And so I guess they standing up a little bit. They speaking out about it at least.
Well, let's see what it culminates in. Eastside, thanks for coming through. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Some of you folks have helped your boy out with the hat and mustache TikTok cap goals. A few of you have. We're nowhere near the goal, but thank you for those who have. I want to play this clip real quick. This is another one with Lindsay Lohan. This guy, I don't know why there's so many clips of this guy out here saying this crazy shit. This is back in the early 90s.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan now?
I think she's hot.
There's something there, right?
Yes.
But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close up of her chest.
Yes.
And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles?
2004, this was apparently. Now, before I played that, this clip was from 2004. They're saying, I went and looked up how old she is. She's 39 now. So 2004 is what, 22 years ago? So take 22 years off of 39. That would make her what, 17? 17 when he said this stuff about her. So there you go. I mean, I don't know, 22 years ago, how old was Trump 22 years ago? I mean, he's turning 80 this year. So he was way older than her to be saying that. But just think about that. How old was Trump 22 years ago to be saying that shit? Yikes. Tap the screen, get the likes up. And like I said, it's amazing that we only need a little bit of issue to say illegal immigrants are voting or something, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence on Trump. I mean, to me, the evidence is to the point where the only thing left is actually video of him humping on somebody. I mean, the amount of circumstantial evidence, accusations and stuff is overwhelming. The only thing that would, my guess is if you produced a video of him actually humping on somebody, people would say the video was AI. But there is way more than enough evidence to suggest this guy might have been. And then, of course, how he is handling the Epstein list, where you got Marjorie Taylor Greene making it clear that he's hiding and saying my friends will get hurt and stuff. So at the very least, he's protecting pedos if he's not one himself. There's a ton of circumstantial evidence on this guy. And MAGA's just like, so I'm riding with him. Knowing damn well that, I don't know. This looks terrible. That's all I can say. Anyhow, folks, looking at the comments, Trump been ugly as fuck since he was born, though respectfully. I think he was a decent looking guy when he was younger. He's tall, he was wealthy. I thought he was decent looking as a younger guy. I'm assuming women liked him. He was hanging around the Playboy Mansion and shit like that. But being born with a silver spoon in your mouth is going to get you plenty of ass. Unfortunately, it also allows you to abuse kids and get away with it too. That's the thing that's really unfortunate, is that you can actually also get away with abusing kids. I mean, I never would have thought there was this huge pedo ring among the wealthy and rich and famous. I just thought individuals were doing shit they shouldn't be doing, but these folks are doing it like in collusion with each other. I mean, the whole island and shit. They some of the most elite members amongst us, and then it looks even worse when you get a bunch of Americans that have a lot of information right before them, and they like the guy so much that they don't even pursue it. I mean, you had, what is his name, Dan Bongino or whatever. He was making money on the internet talking about this shit when the liberals were in charge. Trump becomes president and appoints him deputy FBI director. He's second in charge. He's in a position now to realize all of the shit that he's been talking about on this podcast. He didn't produce a damn thing. Trump was able to stop it to the point where he just resigned and left. I don't know. It's hard to look at this as any other way. I mean, I got motherfuckers who say if you don't let the police search your car, that shows that you're guilty. Didn't Trump say that? If you plead the fifth, it means you're working for the mob. It means you got something to hide. How is he not hiding something with the Epstein stuff? It's crazy the way this looks. I don't have any other answer for it, but that was the whole purpose of the live, is why is this okay? Why is this shit okay? Some way, somehow in the future, I do believe people are going to look back on this generation and say, how the hell could they do this? I mean, there's enough stuff orbiting around him that it ain't like he didn't have red flags. It ain't like he didn't have all sorts of red flags orbiting around him. Donald J. Trump forever and ever. Dublin, Ireland, where you want him to, well, keep saying you want Donald Trump forever over there in Dublin. Your country would be easy to take over. I mean, you may get him the way you don't want him. I mean, we are on a land grab right now. So you keep saying that in Dublin, Ireland. Fuck around and go over there and take over your whole thing. Cash Patel isn't qualified to lead the FBI. He didn't even have a gun during the ballroom assassination attempt. Wow. Well, listen, Trump is not putting people on based on qualifications. It's based on loyalty and sensationalism. I think Pete Hegseth got the job because of how he looks. I mean, I think he just looked for that G.I. Joe look, square jaw look. I think he was just looking for somebody that had the look, and then verified this person would be loyal, and that was it. I don't think it had anything to do with Pete Hegseth getting hired beyond that. He looks like the American image I want to portray, and he's loyal. And I think that's all that mattered. They ran with that. So be it. Anyhow, folks, I appreciate the 135,000. Few of you folks show some love tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know how else to say this. I just don't. I don't know why this shit is okay. I don't know what Trump is doing for the country that's so great that no matter what goes negative, they turn a blind eye to it. One day, somehow, somewhere, we'll find out. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Y'all take care. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'm out. Dinner time. That poll would